So the Blues making their way out alongside the Gold Coast Suns here. This is a big game for the Blues. 8-8, their 9th. Gold Coast Suns 6-10, 14th. Andrew Welsh, such a beautiful day. You'll feel right at home on the boundary in the Gold Coast, I reckon.
Absolutely beautiful, Baz. The sun's out, fantastic conditions down here. I'm expecting a finals-like intensity from Carlton. They need to win every game to keep their chances alive, and I think we'll see that early on. Important for the Gold Coast not to get overawed by it and just stay settled when they get the ball. I think we're going to have a great first quarter.
Doesn't look to be much breeze to speak of either, so I think we really do get a great day for football. Mark McVeigh, we've got a selection from you this afternoon.
I'm going with the Suns. I think if they can match them on the inside, they've got genuine leg speed that'll worry the Blues.
Well, as well she said, the run to the finals for the Blues, a delicate one for the Blues to feature in September. Their form needs to be pretty much perfect from here on in. And the Suns, well, they woke from their mid-season slumber last week, and that man, Gary Ablett, had so much of the football to Harbrow. Then Jaeger O'Meara, who's had so much hype and lived up to all of it, sends the Suns forward for the first time. Skipping past Brown, chance for Sumner. He's come back into the side. Brennan around the place. First score of the afternoon to the Suns.
So Walker wastes no time, quickly boots the ball in. It was a tough one for the skipper, Murphy, on the outer side. Trying to get around Broughton. Broughton did that pretty well. He just corralled him up, held him up, and that's a very strong mark. Cruiser plays on quickly. You heard the call from the umpire, and Simpson might have been away then. Shaw just standing the mark. So Simpson goes with a long one in the Yarran direction. Will it sit for him? It did sit. That's well done by Weller. He got his hands there first. Did he get the footy over the line? Still hasn't. Now he has. First score of the afternoon for the Blues. One behind. Each nervous moments there when the defender close to the line. Get it over, son.
Yeah, there was plenty of space out the back for the Carlton players to run into, so they really push up the ground. Plenty of space out the back for him to push into goal.
And Betts and Yarran involved early, as is Gary Ablett. Betts and Yarran and Garlett, 8 between them last weekend. Suddenly Hall can go over the top to Dixon, who's streaming away from Jamison. Won't use him first up. Now it's a long ball. Dixon works his way inside 50. Campbell Brown just collides with Tui. Dixon slapped it to Brown. Got hold of it. In the end, he did a good job to get a foot onto it. Now Jaeger O'Meara, what can he do? A heap of pressure. Works the ball backwards. A chance for Dade. Jamison will be taken over the line. No, Dixon rips it back into the field of play. Big losses, Mark McVeigh, Prestia and Thompson. Thompson has done such a good job all year. Lockie Henderson perhaps was where he would have gone. And Prestia has helped Gary Ablett so much in the middle.
Absolutely. He would have really gathered a number of possessions today. He's an outstanding quality young player that uses his foot skills really well.
So here's a bonus for the Suns. Tom Nichols, who's been just brilliant. Look at Gary Ablett just lurking. Everyone in the stadium thought it was coming. In the end, it didn't, because Nichols, Big Tom, just takes them on. He kicks long. Offline, though, just to behind. They've got to be conscious of that. And Watson to bring the ball back in. So 2 behinds to Suns. Carlton 1 behind on a glorious day for footy.
Well, Ed Kerno has a win against Gary Ablett, and quickly it's in the hands of Jeff Garlett, who kicked 4 last weekend to the wing. He strolls now to Armfield, who is blessed with speed. He turns around, gets a round tape, and now to dangerous territory. Henderson one-on-one. He has become a formidable forward for the Blues. He's the ultimate swingman, Spike. The swingman's swingman, if you like. Back 6, terrific. And going forward in the last couple of weeks, he's been really useful. Kicked 7 goals too, and he might just open the account for the Blues.
We're seeing a number of players being able to play multiple positions this year from different clubs. But well done, Ed Kerno. If he's going to hurt Gary Ablett, he's not going to beat him, but he's got to hurt him the other way, and he took a good mark on him.
Well, he's 10-4 from set shots this year, Lockie Henderson. 14-6 for the year. First goal of the Blues coming up, and Lockie delivers. It's fascinating to see Lockie Henderson now. He was thought of as the weaker of the 2 trades. Favola to the Lions, and the Blues fans were saying, oh no, but suddenly Favola's not playing AFL football and Henderson's dominating.
Well, it's a credit to him, isn't it? He's really come out and worked really hard, and obviously he looks strong when he's down back. He's reliable, he's a reliable kick, but when he gets forward, he kicks goals, and that's perfect.
First goal of the game for the Blues. 1-1, 2 behinds. Umpires today, McBurney, Farmer and Pennell. And umpire McBurney's got the ball in his hands now, ready for the restart. So Nichols, who's been so good this season, he loses that one. Taken by McLean, he kicks it long. He got it down from Cruiser. Henderson, who kicked the last goal, involved again. Well done over the top of the footy. Russell just holding it up for the Suns.
I'll have it. Thank you.
And the throw up about 14 metres out from their goal. So they've looked dangerous early, the Blues, and they've moved it quickly when they have gone.
They have, and that's made the Gold Coast Suns put an extra player behind the ball to stop those inside 50s.
Nichols down, Ablett, Bennell close to the line and just over.
Interested to hear Mick Malthouse Spike say pre-game we sent Mitch Robson back to the twos just to make him think about really what a privilege it is playing at this level and what you need to do to stay at this level.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It keeps you hungry, keeps you wanting to get the best out of yourself, and he's certainly a player that thrives on competition and hardness.
So here's Scotland. He got it from Murphy. Now he dishes to Gibbs. Some good players involved there. That's an excellent kick. Oh, Eddie was lurking, but the mark taken well by Jager O'Meara. It's easy to forget that Jager O'Meara is playing just his first season of football. I suppose play like that might just remind you. He dishes to Ablett. Nice to see the skipper there to help out. And Weller's got the footy. But Jager O'Meara, just a brilliant first season. 16 matches, 13 goals. He's been right alongside Gary Ablett, one of the go-to men in the midfield.
He looks like he's engineered to play about 1,000 games. Hasn't missed in his first year. And as we said pre-game, he's had so much hype around him and he's lived up to all of it as the Blues go inside 50 again. Henderson again a likely target as the skipper just cruises on by. Mackenzie looks to be running with Henderson for the moment. Mackenzie last weekend tagged by McCaffrey, so a week's a long time in football, as they say. This time Cruiser does the work against Nichols. Cruiser just brilliant to Judd. He'll work onto that right boot. He won't get the journey. Mackenzie front spot. He touched it, or didn't he? The Blues look to the goal umpire and there will be a chat.
Hang on. Umpire's call is a goal. Okay. Score review. Umpire's call is a goal, all clear. Just want to check if it was touched on the way through.
So no more explanation needed. So can we pick up a touch from the Chris Judd kick? Oh, nothing obvious there, was there?
Well, inconclusive, isn't it? I mean, it may well have been, but it may just as easily not have been touched.
Trent, just wait till I get back out there and let you know if you bring it back touched.
What do you reckon, Spike?
I don't think it was touched, as you said, inconclusive. So that usually goes back to the umpire, doesn't it? And he said it was a goal.
A director making a decision.
The director, is it? Steven Spielberg's making a call.
Umpire's call is a goal. All clear.
There you go, inconclusive. Chris Judd on the scoreboard. The Blues have got a couple and they skip out to 11 points early going on a Saturday afternoon.
That'll be good for Juddy's confidence too, wasn't it? He was a bit down last week and he copped a little bit of criticism, unfairly I thought, but great to see him get on the scoreboard early, running well, running hard early. Carlton midfielders Mark Murphy, Juddy are all pushing in real quickly.
What he did then, Spike, he got the ball on the move, and that's what these younger Gold Coast midfielders will be watching, because such a dangerous player, when you can get the ball on the move at stoppages, they'll have to tighten up on him in those scenarios.
So Rowe now to have a run on the ball for the Blues. Sam Rowe, who's been in and out. They've struggled to settle on their preferred two big men, but at the moment, certainly Rowe and Cruiser, and Rowe did well there down to Curnow, taken high. Free kick, so Scotland takes it. You heard the call of the advantage. Long again, down towards the man who's come into the team. He couldn't mark that time, Robertson. Roving Yaron. He just taps it out. Curnow again, back to Scotland. They're getting a lot of the footy here, the Blues. The kick towards the hot spot. Big fly from behind Garlett, not quite. He tried to get the handball across to Eddie Betts. He goes in and wins the footy again, and I reckon it will be thrown up 25 metres out. Gee, they've been exciting, haven't they, going forward? Look at this leap.
So the Blues looking lively early. Nichols against Rowe.
Oh, Chris Judd.
Well, an opportunity for Chris Judd to get his second inside 90 seconds.
What's behind me here, Lukey?
as Andrew Welsh pointed out, Juddy's getting on the move around the stoppages, getting himself in a dangerous position. Therefore, opposition players get nervous and have to hold on.
So Amira in game 17, giving the free away against a player in 2-5-5. So fabulous for the Eagles, brilliant for the Blues. 2 clubs, 2 legacies left as Judd kicks, and he's just offline.
Still, Mark McVeigh, as you mentioned, he didn't have his best game last week. He was very quiet by his standards, and getting a lot of the footy. He would have loved a second goal, but the sign's encouraging, and that's a terrible kick out. Mackenzie's kick has been marked by Eddie Betts, and you've just got to be precise. Oh, that's a big mistake. And he's the last man you want to be giving free opportunities to. So 4 scoring shots to 2. Eddie on the runway now. He's going to kick from well inside 50. It just drifts across the face, and right on the goal line, it's touched and over it goes.
Do you reckon he'll go along here, Baz? I think he might put the left foot, sink right through it and kick it beyond 50.
Well, he's capable, isn't he? I mean, he's got that left foot that resembles a harpoon gun at times. Short was the choice in the end. They work it today on the outer side, who kicked the first last Saturday night. He's played all over the ground day since coming in as a Sun. Recruited as a key half forward, went 3 in the draft, and he's been in and out. Stanley, he started with the Geelong Unders and debuted for the Pies in 07, has nestled in beautifully into this Suns outfit. Nichols, Cruiser, the tap to Murphy. A couple of number ones just combining. Cruising on through is Scotland. The evergreen Scotland loses control of football, and the Suns gather it, but Walker will be there first for the Blues. Quick give in the end to Carazzo. He's got 2. He couldn't find the right hand in the end. Worked it to Walker.
Throw it in.
Gary Ablett's so good in and around the footy, but what he's also got to his game now, he can go forward, he can go deep. You can see here he's on Curnow, so he's trying to exploit him. Gold Coast got to get the ball in quick onto the lead because Gary's got him for pace.
Blues by 13 points. Might have been a high tackle there. Nichols on Cruiser. The ball spills out the back, so they're okay here. Hall to Shaw. It was a very good tackle. Scotland mops up. Well done, Yaron. Brilliant tackle inside towards 50. Henderson, he's done that brilliantly. Closes to 35. It deserves a goal. He's offline. Just hit the post, huh?
Looks dangerous, Spike, every time the ball goes near Lockie Henderson.
He does, and he draws a couple of players to him. He kept his feet, as we were talking about pre-game about Gary Ablett. He was the one player that was able to get the ball and have a shot at goal.
Well, deja vu. Left foot comes in, finds one of the amigos and bets inside to Garlett, who's been so dangerous for the Blues this year. He's been brilliant. So May this time turns it over. Mackenzie the last time. So Jeff Garlett leads the Blues on the goal kicking. 36-18 coming into this afternoon to extend the 14-point lead, and he will by 6. Beautiful strike of the football. Great start for the Blues.
Well, you might give him one free swing at it, but you give him a couple of free swing Spike, and they're going to make the most of it, aren't they? And it's just Russian roulette, really, from the Suns kicking in.
It is, and I think one of their discussion points during the week would have been good ball use and clean ball use, and twice they've just turned over through lazy kicking, really, outside their back half. And here's just a lazy kick in once again to young player there trying to do the right thing, and then obviously Eddie Betts finding that target in the inside 50, and Jeffy Garlett finishing off nicely.
So big Charlie Dixon, one of the success stories of the season for the Gold Coast Suns, doing the ruck work. Gee, that was unlucky not to be recalled, that bounce. Murphy quickly on to Lucas. They're back inside 50 again. Mackenzie, Weller, Brown. He did all right there. Gee, that was important that he got a touch on it because there were Blues everywhere. Bennell off the ground. McLean crashing his way through. Here's Yaron. He's been so busy outside 50. He sends it towards the goal square. Bouncing ball is good. Carlton 4-4. The Gold Coast Suns just 2 behinds. And bang, 26 points their lead. And the sting already right out of the Gold Coast Suns, isn't it?
Absolutely, and Campbell Brown did really well out in the wing. Tried to punch the ball back in. Harley Bennell had to be a little bit stronger over the ball. Quick turnover, quick goal. Well, they're really struggling, the Suns, especially in the centre clearances. This is putting a huge amount of pressure on their defence. And Yaron, Betts and Garlett already had big games already and starting to really be quick around that 50-metre arc.
So the Blues have started almost perfectly, 4-4 in quick time. The Suns caught on the ropes at the moment. They need to get off pretty quickly. Tui and Sumner. Sumner wins the battle, runs into Lucas, gets the handball away in the end, and Harbrow fires it low. Wanted Brennan, won't find him. So the establishment versus the youngsters. The Blues in their 117th year. That man in his 29th behind the coaching wheel against the Suns in just their 3rd. Cruiser, Murphy, they've combined a couple of times already. Lucas gets held up.
Let's make a genuine attempt holding the ball.
Well, here come the Suns. Let's have a look as to where there was an opportunity to get any sort of genuine attempt rolling. He was pinned, it seemed. Regardless, Day has an opportunity. We see him go to ground wrapped up. Not quite sure what you're supposed to do. Regardless, an opportunity for the 20-year-old Sam Day to get the Suns first, perhaps. A view of what is before him. He strikes it perfectly. That's what he did as a youngster growing up in South Australia. And the Suns need him to do more of it today. You say youngster, he's still so young. So much expected of these young Suns, but Sam Day, 15 games last year without making a huge impact, it must be said. 10 goals, hasn't missed this year in regard to games. He brings up his 10th goal. As you said earlier, he's played in the back 6, in the front 6, and last week played in both areas equally well.
And just a bit of a stiff decision there against the Carlton play. He didn't have much room to get rid of it, and he was tackled. And you've got to look like you're making an attempt. You can't just freeze.
Dixon got a better run at that one, but still wasn't able to win the hit out down. McLean was over the footy. Broughton dished it out, and they've done okay here. Although the handball for from Boston was a little bit hot. He's done it okay, though, and Shaw it was who fired that hot handball out. He lost the footy on the ground. A quick kick inside Garlett. They're outnumbered here. Eddie Betts, he worked his way onto the football and back onto it a second time. The handball, though, not so good. Player down. Stanley, meanwhile, fired one out quickly, and Shaw takes a very good saving mark after Brown just threw it on the boot. They needed that just to get it into their hands. Everything appears to be okay off the ball. Now Tape's got the footy in the back pocket. And 50.
Well, that's the first time the Blues have been inside 50 without scoring. 9 entries for 4-4. They were 4-4 from 8 entries. The Suns this time get out of trouble, perhaps only momentarily. Weller goes looking for Hall and finds him too far out to score. Sumner is deep. Now Bennell starts to run back to the goal square. It goes in his direction. Just gets out-muscled by Gibbs. Gibbs couldn't control the football. Bennell just snaps it over the body. Just pulled it a little bit too far back. So 1 behind. Margin back to 19 points. And the Blues so hot early as Simpson just ambles out of the defensive 50.
He gets to about 40 metres out and then releases the kick and finds Walker. So they've steadied just a little here, the Gold Coast Suns. But look at the movement here, so quick. Gibbs and now Simpson. A bounce from on the logo. Right on halfway. Cruiser probably should have marked that one. Garlett waiting down. May got his boot to ball. Yaron waiting in the middle of the ground to mop up. Quickly out wide, and Curnow, he's got some space here. It's just outside the 50. He runs to the 50, sends it high. Cruiser missed the last one. He's dropped that one as well. Chance here. Henderson off the ground, claimed by Betts, but it was touched by the Suns through.
No.
The Suns coaching staff identified that obviously Carlton have got a run on. They've put the experienced player in Campbell Brown, who played that role so well at Hawthorn. He's now behind the ball, sitting off, trying to read those inside 50 kicks.
His form this year, Campbell Brown, Spike, has almost demanded another season.
Absolutely, and he deserves one. He's a real leader around the football club with outstanding presence around him as well.
Gary Ablett just put it out in front of Hall. Hall lost sight of it momentarily. Gary Ablett goes again, the second effort, but Walker this time has a win. Sends it to Carazzo. They might turn it over, the Blues. The pressure, though, and the numbers are with Carlton. Carazzo with Curnow. Gibbs is there. Couldn't quite find Walker cleanly. Walker, he went and got the football. And then Carazzo. The kicker's got to be good, and it's perfect to Rowe. What a great story Sam Rowe is. Well documented battle with cancer, now finds himself on football's biggest stage.
Carazzo, short to Scotland. Well done. Bennell got in there. He got a hand in there, knocked it away from Robertson, and Charlie Dixon, welcome back. He marks 35 out, virtually directly in front.
Mick's already standing up.
Haven't they missed this player? He's really good big forward. He's got great hands. And before he got injured, he looked like he was going to take the AFL by storm. They'd be love to have him back in the side. If he can convert for him, it'd be great for his confidence.
No, he's been really good, hasn't he? Been excellent in the ruck. And a target up forward, 11 goals, 6 this season. So this for back-to-back goals for the Gold Coast Suns, just to rest some of that momentum back. Well done to the home team. They're back in the ball game. Well, a rare error from the Blues across half-back. Robinson perhaps a little hesitant. Well done, Bennell, though, who got the hand in there, and blink of an eye, it's inside 50, and Charlie didn't let them down.
He didn't, and it looks like he's been Cade Simpson's hairdresser as well. But look, it's good to see him back. He's a valuable player for their football club.
This is Campbell Brown just running to Kane Lucas, all seemingly fair in love and war. Lucas hit the deck. Campbell Brown continued on. Nichols v Cruiser again. The two men collide. This time Brock McLean is favoured by the tap. He sends it to Kane Lucas, who we just saw running into Campbell Brown. This time he's got Harbrow to beat. The ball spills out the back to the skipper and Murphy, around the corner, back to Brock McLean. Fumbles once and twice, but gives it off to Cruiser. Ignores Murphy, threads it through to Curnow. Now to half forward, that's the tall man in Henderson. They go searching for again. Off hands, what can the Suns do in the back six? They work it. May to Bennell, to Weller, to Ablett. Now to Russell, back to Ablett again. He's got Judd and Walker to beat. Boundary line, a friend.
Ball's over. Thanks, guys.
It was well played by Gary Ablett there, wasn't it? He knew that he'd run out of space, and just to absorb the pressure and step over the line, a younger player may try and take them on, and it's virtually a hopeless situation. The boundary throw-in is the best result, and that's what he got.
No, it's mine.
We were comparing the Ablets earlier. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Couple of premierships, 4 best and fairest for Brownlow, runner-up in the Brownlow, 3rd in the Brownlow, 4 Lee Matthews medals, 6 times All-Australian, the captain of the All-Australian. And as Mark Robinson said in the Herald Sun this week, he may not be the best player in his family.
You're a bit stiff then, aren't you? Well, Haim, you know what it's all about to have very high-achieving brothers. Curnow. Little one across to Murphy. They've kept it alive now into the back of Harbrow.
Back. Carry forward, Mitch.
Mitch Robinson just a little over-exuberant at the moment, I think.
50 metres.
And now 50. Well, that doesn't help. If Mick was standing up before, he'll be on the ceiling of the coach's box now. Not close. Yeah, just a little over-anxious, isn't he, Mitchy Robinson, just to get things going. And obviously, he's got a bit of a rev up. Down to the twos. Now back in the seniors. Weller. For Aaron Hall, who runs. That's good from the Suns. He sends it long. Dixon is the target. Big fly. Tui rove that well. That was nicely done. It was a dangerous handball for Simpson, but plenty of time running across the goal square. He kicks out wide. Rowe the target. Broughton did well. Armfield did even better. The roving was superb. Well done, McKenzie now. He gets the footy in his hands. Not a great kick along the ground. Gibbs read it well. Crashing through the Suns to try and keep it alive. It was Stanley. Gibbs again. Cruiser with some work to do inside defensive 50. Not sure about that kick. Armfield did well, or did he? Here's Weller now. He releases and Armfield goes again. Well done.
So Campbell Brown, it's all about the bounce. It's kind in the end, and he can just ignore the first option and go over the top to Shaw, who played 50 last weekend. Stanley receives, did well, fended off and puts it onto the left boot. Jamison front spot against Brennan. Now Shaw has it come in his direction, but he's got a couple of Blues to beat, and the Blues, they have the numbers and they work it through Gibbs. Now Henderson, he's got a couple of Suns to beat. Campbell Brown did a good job, knocked it down, but Betts was the beneficiary. Works it to Lucas on the wing, hard up against the boundary line to Robinson, back to Betts.
And already Campbell Brown, you can see he's having an influence there, Haim. He's not playing on anyone, he's dropping off, he's reading the ball really well, and when it comes into his area, he's either cleaning it up or making a contest.
So again, in hot dispute on the outer side, and Scotland, who won the best and fairest last year for the Blues, the Evergreen Scotland just works it back to Simpson. Murphy combines and Scotland gets it again, but this time it's Broughton, who made one of the longest trades in the history of the game from Fremantle to the Gold Coast. Works it back to Brown, the Premiership Hawk.
I just did it yesterday and I got tired home.
At least Broughton hasn't got to do it every week. Just
good
once.
point. Yeah, no, good point. So Harbour short, and now Hall's got it on the outer side. They've certainly lifted, haven't they, Mark? And much better in the last 5 or 10 minutes, the Suns.
Well, what I liked about it is when Carlton switched the ball, they're covering those options.
Oh, look at this. Dixon at the back of the pack and plays on if you don't mind. They've got 3 in a row and Charlie's got 2.
They already look stronger with Charlie in the side, don't they? They've got a real vocal point in Charlie to when they go forward. He's a big body, and when he read the ball really well there and kicked a nice goal on the run. So great for his confidence once again. 2 goals, and the Suns are on a bit of a roll here.
Yeah, good reply, isn't it, by the Gold Coast Suns? Inside 50s, that was hopelessly outnumbered early. Suddenly it's 11-9 in favour of Carlton. The Suns have come right back, and as we said, 3 in a row. Game on.
Really good play here by Charlie. He just nudged his player under the ball. Didn't give away the free kick, which was really important. Played on and nailed the goal. And as I said, he looks really, really good up forward for the Suns. A real vocal point for him.
Here come the Blues. Carazzo quickly onto the boot and inside 50. It spirals in the Armfield direction. Brown, he's got Betts to beat. Did a good job, Brown. Got it initially wide and gets a bit of support on the boundary line in the end. Beats Mitch Robinson.
There's a lot of rotations at the moment for Carlton. Mick Malthouse has come down to the bench. They've had around 30-odd interchanges already. So maybe the Heat, they're thinking they've got to keep their guys fresh and the intensity on the game.
It's a really good move by the Suns coaching staff, putting Campbell Brown back there. He's adding much valued experience there.
Well, May didn't take it cleanly, and Betts almost made them pay in the end. May to tape to Brown and quickly out of the dangerous zone for the Suns. Dixon, strong hands against Jamison.
50 metres against Ed Curnow, blocking Gary Abbott's run.
Well, you heard the umpire, Ed Curnow. You could probably try and do too much against Gary Ablett. I mean, it's almost the impossible task to keep him quiet. And you heard the umpire say he was blocking his run. So Dixon will end up with the football, but
Charlie Dixon's got to come on, take the ball.
And he's gone off the ground.
Dixon's having a Powerade as we speak.
You've got to sub in, you've got to sub in.
He's got to be careful here because he's got to make sure someone's coming off before he can come on, or they might have an infringement. So here we go. They're making the interchange, and Dixon's going to come on. I don't think Gary will be happy handing it up.
Charlie's got to take it. Okay.
Well, Seb Tate was the man that came off. He was closest, but it was literally Powerade time for Charlie. Gary might end up with it anyway. He does.
He can go back off now.
Now, Ablett from 65. It's a long ball. It's got the accuracy. Not quite the distance last line. What can Brennan do? Normally spectacular. Well, he tries something that has a high degree of difficulty, just getting out of bed. He did it again then, but not able to pull it off. A point to the Suns. We're back to 7 points.
That was poor play by Curnow. They had a lot of time there to go and close down Gary Ablett. He stood off him. He was always going to get the footy. He's got to make the decision, put the arm across and make sure he can't get it.
Oh, Charlie's been in everything, hasn't he? It's exciting. I mean, just having him back in the team makes it exciting, but he's really added something today. Walker to Murphy to Scotland to McLean, and the kick not good, and well done. That was good stuff by McKenzie. Went in hard, he won the footy, spun the body, protected it, and over the line. So did Charlie make it off the ground eventually? Check that for you. Ball's tossed in.
He's
Now
still out
over
there. They're
again.
taking the Powerades to him at halfback.
Oh, poor Charlie. Judd now just not exactly happy with everything out there. He started the game fantastically. He had 2 early disposals for 2 shots on goal. And since then,
Arms around. Carlton.
only another 1. This is his 4th possession coming up for Chris Judd. He was being hung on to by Danny Stanley. So he plays on quickly out of side. McLean's got it. Just holding it up now, and this certainly is where the Suns have improved. That's a good spoil, or is it? Stanley, well, just over the shoulder in the end.
Mark's here.
May well have had enough of the footy anyway. But the Suns have well and truly pushed numbers back.
Henderson. Well, it was Dixon in the end that did a good job defensively. Spilt to Gibbs. Henderson does the roving work this time and works it to Murphy. Inside to Judd. Couldn't quite take it clean. He might get a second opportunity. In the end, Sexton did a good job.
And that's a young player, Charlie Dixon, understanding the game and where it's at. It's close to quarter time. They've got a bit of a run on. He goes back to help out his defence.
Wide ball, Robinson to Murphy. Was clever, got rid of it before his feet hit the ground. Murphy from 48 just gets it around the corner. Henderson through hands. Good to see Murph back without the headwear, obviously feeling much more comfortable after the cheekbone incident. Shaw and now working the ball to Hall, who's got a bit of space.
And Brown doing the kicking in, which is again wise. The experienced man, just to steady things down a little bit. Hall goes backwards. Broughton rather has got it inside defensive 50, goes back. The mark taken by Russell. So they slow it down. Dangerous kick, but Shaw gets there in front of Yaron and marks well. They've just slowed it down. This is good. A sign of their growing experience, the Gold Coast Suns. A short one onto Weller. We've got 5 seconds left, so they did exactly what they needed to do there, the Gold Coast Suns. Just hang on to the footy and make scoring impossible for your opponents. It's Carlton by 8 points at quarter time. It was 26 points, so it's been a fair comeback by the Gold Coast Suns, and Charlie Dixon has been a big mover in that comeback with a couple of goals. Quarter time at Metricon. It's the Suns 3-4, the Blues 4-6.
Welcome back to Saturday afternoon football. Just watching the masterful work of Gary Ablett Jr. Game 248 this afternoon, equaling his father on 248. And there is Charles Dixon with a beard. Part Tom Hanks from Castaway, part Alan from The Hangover. He has kicked a very, very good couple of goals in that first term. One the running goal, another a set shot. 3-4-22. The Suns, they trailed by 26 points. At the first change, it's just 8. The Blues kicked the first 4 goals of the match. Henderson, Judd, Garlett and Yaron before the Suns rallied in that first term. Weller, he's got more of it than Gary Ablett, but I wouldn't have thought for too long. And Mick Malthouse at quarter time, he picked out Mitch Robinson, and he had a very, very stern chat. Spike, it's a place I assume you never want to be, right in the crosshairs of the coach.
Absolutely, and I think Mick probably knows that he can take it as well. You pick your player who you think can take a bit of a bake, and he obviously dropped him, brought him back in the side, and expects high standards.
What did you make of the Suns late in that first term? The Blues got off to a fly. You thought, well, it might just be the Blues afternoon, but the maturity of the Suns rally. Before we get your thoughts on that, I think this is Ed Curnow we're going to have a look at. You cannot let Gary Ablett go at any stage.
Well, when you're tagging a player, you've got to be so concentrate the whole time. And here, Gary Ablett's had an attorney by himself. Ed Curnow's got to call someone else over to take the man on the mark. He's got to close his space down. You don't want Gary Ablett around the 50-metre arc, and he gets a shot on goal. Ed just has to be closer all the time, get someone else to do the job of being the man on the mark.
No tougher task in football than going with Gary Ablett for a couple of hours. Let him have a minute or two by himself, he'll carve you up.
Absolutely, and look, he's done a great job so far, but make sure your concentration is there for the whole game.
All right, Guy McKenna's just heading down to Andrew Welsh. Guy McKenna, of course, a couple of premierships under Mick Malthouse. Let's go down to Welshie.
Well, Bluey, they got a little bit of a jump on you, but the boys rallied well as the quarter went on.
Yeah, we got to make it a fight, mate, and yeah, they certainly jumped us. They're up here to play, so we certainly knew that. We weathered the storm a bit, got back in the game, so now it's on, mate. We got to hang tough for the rest of the game.
Really important to have a smart player as a loose man defence. Campbell Brown's been great at that role so far.
Did you say smart? Well, he's certainly aggressive, but he's going to be in the contest, and yeah, Brownie's going to provide that. So yeah, he did a super job, took it upon himself to do that. We spoke about it pre-game, so he pushed the button. I thought we started to weather the storm with him doing that.
I said smart enough, smart enough.
That's true.
Thanks, mate.
Bluey, when was the last time you saw a coach cracking jokes during the game, Mark?
Well, isn't that great to see, though? It's refreshing. A coach really enjoying his role up here with the Suns.
He's terrific, Bluey, and he'll be back against his old mate John Worsfold next week. West Coast versus Gold Coast, the battle of the coast. Second term underway. The Blues with the first 4 goals of this game, and then the Suns with the next 3. Judd was busy early in the first quarter, and busy again here, the roving Henderson, an unlikely rover. He just got pulled off the kick a little. Scotland, though, gets back. Handball out for Carazzo. They've done this okay. They've kept the footy in their hands. Eddie with a big fly, couldn't mark. He was flying, but nowhere near the ball. And there's the smart one, Campbell Brown, bouncing ball towards midfield. Jamison leaves his man Dixon, heavy in there. Sexton did well. O'Meara, Sexton gets it back. Gee, they're playing well here, the Suns. Ball forward from Stanley. Now Hall, he can go to Ablett or take them on himself. The young man takes them on. 4 in a row for the Suns.
Really good play there by the young player. He had Ablett on the inside. He kept running and felt that he could go all the way himself, and that's where they can get the Carlton Footy Club. They do have genuine leg speed on the outside, the Suns.
What about the presence of mind not to give the ball to Ablett? I mean, that would be so difficult for a young player. In that position, you've got Gary Ablett running alongside you, and you know, no, I won't give it. I'll back myself. Well done. 2-point ball game.
Really outstanding play here. They were really clean at the contest, and they do have superior foot skills to the Carlton Footy Club. They are very quick, and just showed the ball to Gary Ablett and said, no, I'll kick the goal myself. Well done.
Well, the lightning quick Tasmanian makes it 4 in a row for the Suns, and we're back to just 2 points. Was 26 to the Blues. McLean to Simpson. Runs onto the right boot. Doesn't often use it. This time to half forward. Row front spot. McKenzie runs with him. Harbrow just crumbs onto that left boot of his. Tumbles it just forward of the wing. Now it's Kate Simpson's to win. The bounce is kind enough. To the left boot. He streams through a couple of Suns and picks out Walker, who will become the architect from halfback, to Watson. Played the last couple. This is the 3rd for the year. Fumbles. Has time. Gibbs. He beats Sexton pretty easily in the end. Runs on. Push the call. Well, he didn't beat him at all.
Brownie, your free kick. Campbell, your free kick up here.
It's just so hard now to get separation from your opponent if you're behind. You've really got to try and get them in the side and get them out of the way. It's just really, really difficult now to get any separation.
Once upon a time, that was 50 automatically too when the ball got kicked away, but that seems to have changed, hey?
Yeah, well, Alex Sexton, just a youngster, one of these 4 teenagers playing for the Suns, 5 20-year-olds, the Suns, and the Blues. Well, Bootsma was going to be the youngest at 20. He's out late after being named on Thursday, so they don't have a teenager. Short ball to Boston.
Move it on. Play on.
So Judd just takes a breather, stands on the mark. Big pack forms. A chance perhaps for the Suns to gather quickly here. Sumner does a good job. Around the corner it goes. Bennell, well, it was tough in the end, and Walker read it well. Ricocheted off Bennell, and he works through the middle to Armfield. Bounce was okay, running past Simpson. Just had to wait for the ball a bit, and he composes himself, sweeps it wide to Scotland, to McLean. Ignores Henderson, and now has got a leading row. Doesn't like the look of that, so goes back to Scotland. Buys himself some time. Now the long ball. That's not going to work out because Brown's all on his lonesome. Bets will close, but they've got the numbers, the Suns. Hall fumbles. Garlett closes, gets tripped.
Tripped him up. Play on.
If you have seen the Blues, just a quick bit of information. They are wearing armbands, 2 of them today, for the passing of Don McIntyre, best and fairest in 1937, the last survivor of the 38 premiership side, and also a wife of one of the Carlton family has passed. So condolences, but that is the reason for the Blues black armbands as the Suns work it through to May.
O'Meara went to Bennell and now May through the middle of the ground. They let him go here, so he sends it long. Day is the target. Well done by Watson. He got a good fist on that one. McLean, he was bowled over by the footy. Waiting back though, Walker. He's got plenty of support. Simpson and now Murphy. Outer side. He's had one bounce to skipper and he looks upfield. That's a good kick. And on his own, Henderson. About 75 from home. So the Blues, well, they really need the next goal, don't they? First 4 of the game, and the Suns have kicked the next 4. It's just a 2-point ball game. It was 26 points. Kick to the pocket, and well done, Bennell, Manning, Garlett, big fist to the footy.
And what the Suns are doing really well, they're getting back into the forward 50, or the back 50, I should say, before the Carlton forwards, which they're outnumbering, which is creating a contest, and they're able to bring it out easier.
So Cruiser in front. He works the ball down.
Lenny's back. Brown's free.
So Brown, he's made a difference, hasn't he?
He's been outstanding. A great move there. Dean Solomon's the defensive coach of the Suns, and he's identified that they need some experience down there, some help, and he's released Brownie, who's done a great job so far.
Stay with you, man, Jeff. Thank you.
Just taking Brown's numbers home. 7 disposals. He's been a real strength for them.
Well, I think even he thought that 2013 was his last season, but his year so far coming to this.
Spalding's back again in the back.
Suns free kick on the outer side has been exceptional.
Is it unkind to say that since he's appears to worry just more about the footy and getting on with it and less about the man, it's been his best football as a result?
Well, he's been playing excellent football, hasn't he? I mean, he's runner-up in best and fairest so long ago at the Hawks in 07, premiership in 08, and in 13 he's playing such a valuable role for these Suns. A wise head with all these youngsters. And speaking of youngsters, Sumner to O'Meara.
Got Ablett one-on-one in the goal square, lurking dangerously.
Well, back to the man that can kick the football such a long way, and he goes to the goal square. Nichols. In the end, it just gets taken through by Gibbs. Speak of youngsters, I mean, Nichols was 5th in line for the ruck job. Hickey got traded. Zach Smith got injured. Dixon got injured. Gorringe's form didn't warrant it. Comes into the side, and suddenly he's a required player. Sliding doors of AFL football.
Watson kicks in, he finds Scotland. That was a good kick. Curnow.
Free kick, play on.
You heard the call from the umpire. It was a mark and or free kick, and now getting free and getting a bit of the footy is Lockie Henderson. So a long way from home. He sends it down towards full forward. Rowe up in front. Brown behind him. Well done, Russell mopping up. McKenzie across to Harbrow. That's a clever kick. Now what can May do? He did that well. He fended off and then got his boot to ball and kicks towards the wing. A real arm wrestle here. Walker, Brennan, O'Meara arrives to help out, and they might just have got the job done here, the Suns. O'Meara, though, forced to release. The tackle was there, and Murphy's handball for Carazzo. Back he goes to Scotland. The kick now towards half forward. May, well, he did everything right there. He lost his man. In second attempt, he couldn't just hang on. So Henderson's done nicely. Handball forward. Pushed forward was Rowe, but the ball over the line. It'll be tossed in. It's a 1-point ball game. Carlton 4-6, Gold Coast 4-5.
Blues having a lot of trouble moving the ball forward. The Suns are getting back really, really quickly and making sure that they're cutting out any outlets that the Carlton Footy Club have going forward.
The handball, no, didn't miss it.
Well, Cruiser thought about the handball, and a couple of Blues had their backs turned to Cruiser, so Rowe's got a few to beat, and he might just beat them all. Couldn't take it the third time. Clever from Yaron around the corner to Henderson. His kick smothered. Interested to read the local papers this morning, and Gary Ablett, who writes a column, said things have changed. We've got such belief now. We go into matches now knowing we can win rather than hoping, which we did for so long.
It's the important mindset, isn't it? Knowing that you can win games of footy instead of expecting a heavy loss.
Well, here comes Yaron, just squeezes through. Brilliant from Chris Yaron. Had very little to work with and did a terrific job of it. A goal to the Blues. It's easy from up here, Spock, but when you've got players surrounding you and all coming at speed, to be able to thread the needle, keep composed and find a way through, it's a special quality.
It is very easy from up here and watching in the stands, but players that can do that are really valuable. The ones that keep their head over the footy and know there's heat coming at them, but they're able to have clean hands and kick goals is a really good skill to have.
So the Blues get their 5th finally, I say finally because 25 minutes between goals. Just a little fumble there from Boston, so costly.
Yeah, a little fumble, and two of the better players below their legs in the AFL in Garlett and Yaron.
Speaking of better players in the AFL, here's Ablett. He sends a high ball down towards full forward, almost. Oh, Day had it a long time. just couldn't quite wrap it up. And the handball from Gibbs to Judd, the clearing kick for Armfield, and the roving from Scotland. McLean back to Armfield. This is better from the Blues. Exciting football, and they moved it very quickly to Henderson on half forward. Waste no time. Murphy might have been in then. He probably needed to turn around. Betts there in the contest as well. Well read, Campbell Brown.
Well, a couple of one-on-ones now. In the end, Henderson does battle with May. Henderson did well, knocked it to ground. May picks it up. But again, I think the boundary line, the friend of the Suns.
The pressure up around the midfield that the Suns are applying on the Blues, it's making them kick high, which is helping out Campbell Brown sitting into their defence. So you can't underestimate the role he's doing, but the pressure from the Suns midfield is what's causing the Blues to kick high.
Yeah, really good point, Andrew. And Ed Curnow, we highlighted him a bit early. He's doing a fantastic job. Remember, Gary Ablett had 14 possessions last week in the second quarter. He's had, how many does he have for the game? He's had 8 for the game, so he's doing a good job.
Well, Ablett set all this up. He negotiated through the wall of Blues bodies, and he found a way through it amongst the hurly-burly. Now Russell fires it in the day direction. He's picked it up. It's gone around the corner. It's about to bounce now. And he needed a leggy and got an offie. So another point to the Suns. It's one straight kick the difference. Very different atmosphere at this ground than any other, Baz, that we've called on Saturday afternoons. Our first game here at Metricon. It's got a terrific feel.
Yeah, beautiful ground, isn't it? And obviously the weather to complement it. A place that you would certainly enjoy coming on a regular basis. But perhaps the Victorian teams, the Heat, not to their liking. That's not bad, though, by Simpson. He gets it over to Curnow, and Curnow for Eddie Betts. That's great football, Blues.
Really good by Ed Curnow again. He's not going to hold Gary Ablett under 20 possessions or anything like that, but what he can do is hurt him when it's going forward. Get on the end of those handballs, be the last player to take it into 50 and really hurt Gary, make him chase you. Really well done by Ed Curnow.
So Eddie Betts with just a behind this afternoon. He started in a very lively fashion. 2 goals last week in that win over North Melbourne. He's on the runway here, and he's snuck it home. Carlton lead by 12 points. So that's better from the Blues. A couple back now, and they'll just breathe a collective sigh of relief, you'd reckon. They were really being challenged there by the Gold Coast Suns, and they've got the footy in the experienced players' hands, and their movement of the ball up and down the ground's been terrific.
Yeah, it was a bit quicker then, wasn't it? And they needed to move the ball quicker because the Suns players are trying to get back and help out their defence. Couple of experienced players getting their hands on the ball to help the Blues kick that much needed goal. So if they move the ball quickly, it allows them to get through the Suns defence, who are pushing back hard to help out one another. Good goal and a much needed goal for the Blues.
We saw Campbell Brown there on the bench really heaving. He's had the ball 9 times. Only O'Meara and Stanley have had it more from a Suns perspective. He's been valuable this afternoon, no doubt. To Harbrow onto the left boot, and he goes in the Sumner direction. Ablett lurks. Sumner took it cleanly. Turned Gibbs around and just retreats and finds the man that gave it to him. O'Meara's an option. He's ignored for the moment. Now over the top. So Broughton's got a fairly clogged forward line to consider. So he pops it up. Hickey's got the height. Jamison, well, in the end, will make it Nichols. Nichols did a terrific job.
Go with your man, Andrew. Stay with him. Yep. Yeah, right on the 50. Play on.
So the man that was an emergency just once last year puts it in the Dixon direction over the top, not quite for Hall.
What they're doing really well, the Gold Coast Suns, when they're building up to go into forward 50, is they're spreading the ground. They're not all congregating to one side and making them kick on top of their heads. They're keeping them wide, which makes the Carlton defenders hard to zone off. If they just wanted to push across, they'll be able to just rip it out and get it forward like they did with the last goal.
Another look there at Mick. Fair to say he's not exactly enjoying his afternoon at the moment. Gibbs to Walker, and now Tui's got the footy in his hands on the outer side. And this is where they have been better in the last probably 10 minutes or so, just moving the ball from defence down into attack. They were really struggling in that area, and here's Garlett right on cue. Arrives on half forward, just forward of the wing. He has a couple of bounces from on the 50, sends it goalward. It's behind the post.
Just watching Matthew Cruiser cruise around the ground, and he's had 10 hit-outs to advantage already. The record this year in a game is 17, so he's in outstanding form.
Mackenzie's got the ball in his hands at the moment. He has amazing speed. He got Garland to feel pressure. Normally Garland's just idling and everyone else is redlining, but Mackenzie closed down and did a terrific job. So Nichols, clean in the end to Ablett. It was a terrific gather and give, but it ricochets back to Kerner, who's been seeing a lot of Gary Ablett this afternoon. Nichols again to Ablett. Then Gary just sort of dances backwards before he chooses his option, and that time it's Weller, whose kick is terrific on the outer side to the running Brennan. So Brennan's time at the Suns has been mixed. In and out of the side at times. I'm sure he would have thought life would have been a little bit easier. Dixon has got to beat Robinson and Judd. Judd just has it slapped in his direction. Cruiser works it to Curnow. Then the kick to Walker. So they start to build the Blues here. Wide is Armfield. Bennell closes down. So Walker, who spent a lot of his life inside the forward 50, not so under Mick. Wide to Simpson. He's got a runner in Jamison, who, as per usual, has got plenty of tape on the shoulders from 60. A long ball. Rowe's the only option. He's found, but Sammy Rowe can't complete the transaction, and it spills over. The Blues deep in defence, in attack.
Suns are allowing Carlton to switch the ball a lot. That means they've got a lot of room through that centre sort of corridor. They're just getting back to help their defence quick as possibly can, identifying they're so dangerous forward.
Cruiser in front, Nichols with him. That ball dangerous towards Gibbs. That was a good set play. And Gibbs only needed it, Judd rather, only needed it to sit, and they were a chance there. Two famous rucking names, aren't they? Nichols, one of the greats. Big Nick for the Blues, of course. Tom Nichols doing a great job with the Gold Coast Suns, and Cruiser fast becoming a favourite at the Blues. The former #1 draft pick, well, not former, once a #1 draft pick, always a #1 draft pick, and they've got 3 of them out there today.
Move it on. Play on.
So Broughton has to find an option. He's kicked that very poorly. So Lucas quickly inside to Brock McLean. A bit of a lull in this game. Just the 2 goals in this term. Yaron and Betts, the goal scorers, and the Blues out to 13. Watson can switch to the outer side. Gibbs. He's got a paddock around him. Brown just closes in. Corrals Gibbs, and his kick in the Rowe direction was spot on again. Rowe again unable to complete the mark, and Mackenzie, who looks exhausted, gives it to Ablett. He goes short to Brennan. No one really forward of the circles. It's Sexton who streams inside 50, and if they can work it over the top, he's got a one-on-one against Carazzo. Broughton onto the left boot. Well, had to be perfect, the kick. It's made it hard for Harbrow. He's got 3 Blues to beat, and the Blue Jumpers do it okay in the end. Tui tackled by Sexton, but his kick perfect. It works its way to Curnow. Cruiser tries to find some space. Going back is Rowan Henderson, the only other Blue inside the forward 50. Goes in those men's direction. Rowan Henderson, neither can really win it. Cruiser normally rucking, does the roving. Handballs to Scotland, left or right, doesn't normally matter for him. Makes it hard. High up and under. Robinson, big fly. Henderson stood his ground. McLean picks it up, works it onto the boot. Offline.
As you said, it is a funny atmosphere, isn't it? It's very low key. Not too sure which way this game's going to go. And as we head towards half time, the Gold Coast Suns need a goal just to get back and put a bit more pressure on the scoreboard.
We joked about Mick not being happy, but he'd be much happier with the last 10 minutes. They've got it on their terms, the Blues, haven't they? They've slowed the tempo and they've tightened things up. Here's Robinson. He goes with a flat one to Eddie Betts. Almost the mark, not quite. Here's Tape. Dangerous here, but they worked their way around the back. That was well done. And the clearing kick from Weller. It was nice. Now a long one from Sumner towards Charlie Dixon. Shaw might have been hung on to there. Tui gathers the football to Watson. Now to Carazzo. Needs it to sit. It does eventually. Gibbs working back deep in defence. Back to Carazzo. Well done by the Suns here. They just kept pushing, and ultimately they forced the turnover. Alex Sexton marks. Now he can go quickly. Shaw is on. Sun in his eyes. Footy in his hands.
It was a disappointing kick there by Carazzo. Probably had a little bit more time than what he thought. He just, as you can see here, just snapped the ball quickly over his shoulder. And so often they fall short. And it was well done by the Suns player there to identify in the middle there a free player. Sensational work.
Well, Mick was very quickly furious again. 7-6 this season. Well, he won't be happy with that at all, will he? The defensive setup is Mick's forte, and that was poor. 7 goals, 6 this season. This would be nice for the Gold Coast Suns to get their 5th. They've got it.
And there's Mick on screen just having a look and standing up, and he wouldn't be happy with that quick turnover. And that was the goal the Suns needed, wasn't it, Baz? The game had a bit of a lull, and they need to put some scoreboard pressure on it going into half-time.
Well, and speaking of pressure, it was a goal built virtually out of nothing on their pressure. It looked for all money. Well, Carlton have got their footy in their hands here. They'll move it down towards half forward. But they just didn't give up. They stayed in the faces of their opponents, and they forced the turnover.
And here's the turnover there by Carazzo. Just snapped the ball over his body really quickly. They often fall short. And well done there identifying a loose player in Matt Shaw, who went back and kicked the goal.
So the Suns just stay within touch. Betts just spending a bit of time in the middle, just flicks it to Cruiser. No clean kick away, and now it's desperate scamper for the football from both sides.
I've just watched the Gold Coast Suns big ruckman Nichols come off, and he's gone into the back of the dugout with the physios and doctors. I think they're just checking his knee. The sub's gone over to check out, so he will want him to come on pretty soon, I think.
Betts give to Murphy was just sublime, and then the kick to Henderson just as good. So Eddie Betts finding himself in the middle for the moment, and well, that handball to the skipper was 10 out of 10 stuff. The give was instinctive, and the kick from Murphy outstanding. The hands from Henderson up to the task. Plenty of pressure being thrown at him. Can Henderson kick one and just skip it back out to 14 points after the Shaw goal a minute or so ago? Normally very reliable, and the Blues fans, they'll be delighted with that. Henderson's got 2. Hard to know where he's best suited, Spike, but at either end of the ground, Blues fans love him.
Absolutely, and it's much like Jake Carlisle from the Bombers, isn't it? Whether he's a centre-half back or centre-half forward. But I think it's a good thing for your footy club to have when you have a player that can swing both ends when you need him. But he certainly is a quality forward, and he's a beautiful kick for goal too. Well, Baz, it's hard to know whether he's a backman or a forward, but when he goes forward, he tends to kick goals. He clunks the ball really, really well. He has a strong presence and looks very, very dangerous.
That wasn't a good sign, was it? Tom Nichols limping down the race and into the rooms as Chris Judd gets the footy. That's not a good sign for the Gold Coast Suns either. Long kick down towards full forward. Tape almost the mark. It falls at the back. Brown's got a bit of work to do here with Yaron. He played it well. One of 3 premiership players out on the ground, and Campbell Brown, he could not be fooled there. He was going to keep the footy as close to him as possible for as long as possible, and then give it the whack through the goal line. Well played. A+ for that. 15-point lead, Carlton, and it's been an interesting term, hey. Look at the scoring this term. 3-4 Carlton, 2-3 Gold Coast.
After 4 goals to 3 in the first term, the Blues, they watched the little master just put it over the top, and Sexton, as he got the speed to get away from Carazzo, he tumbles the ball in the Dixon direction. To kind bounce. He didn't take it cleanly the first time, has time to get it again. Turns Watson inside out, and then he puts it into dangerous space on the left boot. A diving Stanley. Tip of the hat to Charlie Dixon.
Oh, and how good is that play for a big man getting down below his knees? Went around once, twice, balked his opponent, then the snap on the left foot. Quality skill that is, to be able to do that and have the vision to see one of your teammates on the inside running into goal.
Well, all up to Danny Stanley now. 3rd in the best and fairest last year after missing the first 7 games, and he's narrowed the gap again, back to 9 points. Second life, Spike, at another club, and he's embraced it, grabbed it with both hands, and playing terrific footy.
No doubt, with the conditions we're seeing today, he's rejuvenated, but really good play there. I think the Suns look a lot better when they move the ball quicker, and they really use their leg speed, and they look really, really sharp.
So 3 goals apiece now in this second term as we get close to the long break. Back to 9 points.
Terrific play here by Charlie Dixon. Couple of balks there and then got onto the left foot, identified one of his teammates in Stanley running into a forward 50 with no pressure. Really good play.
So Dixon goes high. Here's Robinson, who got a bit of a cook from the coach at quarter time. He sends it long down in the Henderson direction. It falls for Eddie Betts. Little handball for Yaron. Back to Betts for the quick answer. You can't get much quicker than that. That's 2 now for Eddie. Oh, lightning out of the middle, and Judd, the long kick. He's not finished yet. I mean, it's been all about Gary Ablett, hasn't it? And you look at their careers. I mean, the big comparisons today have been between Ablett Senior and Junior, but we shouldn't forget the other comparison. In many ways, it's more relevant. Gary Ablett, 248 games, and Chris Judd, 255. Nothing separating them, either in games or as players.
And just the quick kick in here puts the Suns defenders under a lot of pressure, and Eddie Betts, as he always has done, keeps himself in the contest, picks up the loose ball, and when he gets a position to be able to snap at goal, he very rarely misses.
So just cruising on through Murphy, took his time and found Scotland to Gibbs. Now Henderson again is the man they go to. May over his back, no free kick. Robinson tripped, got the ball back to Henderson. So Robinson was brilliant then, as was Henderson. Umpire pulls him up. Welshie, what have you got?
Well, obviously Charlie Dixon's had to go in the ruck for Nichols going off. He still hasn't come back out of the race. The sub Gilby for the Suns is getting quite a lot of work down on the boundary, so I think there could be a change coming up. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, Bennell not quite. Ablett, he's got Curnow again on his hammer to Shaw. Murphy puts the pressure on. Back to your comment, Baz, about Chris Judd. I mean, his career equally is brilliant in that very rare club. Brownlow, Norm Smith, and captain of a premiership. Only one other man in the history of the game has done that, and that's James Hird. So 2 genuine stars of the game before us this afternoon. What a privilege to watch both.
And it's almost a forgotten comparison today, isn't it? Because we've had all the talk about Ablett versus Ablett. Interesting, Gary Ablett, 6 times he's had 40+ possessions on this ground, just on this ground alone. Chris Judd has never had 40+ possessions in his career. It doesn't diminish him as a player at all, but it's interesting, isn't it? He's never been one to really rack up the big numbers. 39 his best against Brisbane with West Coast back in 2006.
Well, that's 39, still a big number, but look, he's devastating at his best, isn't he? Forward from centre, he's outstanding. He can hurt you by hitting up a target, hitting up the full forward, or kicking goals.
Both card-carrying members of the Brilliant Footballers Club, regardless of their personal highs. They're just terrific to watch.
Oh, aren't they, Bennell? That's not the best kick, and chopped off cleverly there by Watson, who's kicked towards the wing. Provides a contest here for Russell to work his way into, and he did that nicely to Harbrow, who's been playing good footy this year. Oh, there's the rev up. That's the result. Running onto it, Mitch Robinson. He'd love a goal back in the team. Did everything right, but the finish not there.
And that's what Mick would have wanted, not the finish, but the attack on the football. He wouldn't worry about the miss on shot. It's just about attitude towards competing for the football, and that's what Mitch Robinson's in the side to do.
Thank you.
That was so typical of Robinson, wasn't it? That ruthless attack on the football, sort of part kamikaze, part human wrecking ball. And he got the Blues forward as the Suns press in the Ablett direction. He might just get the free kick.
50.
Well, suddenly what was a very good thing becomes a certainty.
And this is what I'm loving about the game, how it's changed this year. The best midfielders in the comp are resting forward. That's what we want to see, because they can give you 2 or 3 goals a game.
So the man that does the simple things brilliantly and the impossible just a bit better will kick one for the Suns, and suddenly it's a 10-point ball game. They love him here. They love him everywhere. Ablett gets the Suns 7th. He's been so excellent for so long. We take his artistry for granted a bit, and has Martin Flanagan wrote in Today's Age, he's reliably excellent, Gary Ablett.
He just never disappoints, does he? 49 disposals last week against Collingwood, a career high 53 also against Collingwood last year. And we're talking about those comparisons. His dad's best, and I'm going to say only against Spike, only 36. That was against West Coast back in 1992. But he did kick 14 goals on 3 separate occasions.
That's a fair effort too. And he probably had all those touches from full forward. Work that out.
And what is terrific is he hasn't just held his standing in the game, but remarkably, he's enhanced it as a son after being a cat of such brilliance.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a very good point. He's probably a better footballer. And look out, here's Garlett. So there's time, 17 seconds left on the clock. They send it long. They'd love one. The Blues late after they allowed the Gold Coast Suns to get a goal in the last minute, but maybe not now.
And just touching on Gary too, amazing record, but a very humble person. That's what you love about him. Absolutely humble, great person, and that's what makes him such a great champion.
And Haim, I think you said at the top, just about unbackable for his second Brownlow, isn't he?
Well, I mean, you would think very close to a certainty for his second Brownlow. He's going to be an All-Australian for the 7th time. Chris Judd, the man that we've been glowing in terms of praise, ends with the ball in his hands, and he heads to the rooms at half-time. They've got their noses in front, Carlton. It's just 11 points. It was 26. But Judd and Ablett, two really exciting players, two fabulous players to watch. You've got a lot of it in the first half of this game. Ablett 15 times and Chris Judd not so many as Ablett in 10, but they're such influential players. The Blues by 11 at the long break. Bounce to start the third term. Blues by 11 as we commence the second half. Robinson hands on it early to Betts and now to Simpson, who'll swing onto that left boot. He goes searching. It's Murphy the target this time, and spilt ball by Tate. Murphy an opportunity to go and gather it again. Well done in the end by Russell. Handball over the top to Brown. It's an interesting time for the Blues. I mean, their form has got to be perfect today and every week leading into the finals, and they need a top 8 team to stumble. Power on the Lions tomorrow means so much for them. The Suns have got their tails up after that win last weekend. So an interesting second half coming up as the Blues again have the numbers, and Gibbs just threads the needle and finds the leading arm field. So the New South Welshman has got so much dash, but right now he needs to be a goal kicker. He's done it on a few occasions this year. 11 goals coming into this match.
The one-step kick there by Bryce Gibbs, to a really tough skill to be able to master, and he nailed it beautifully.
So what can the man with the mo do? He's going to strike it from right on 50. Well, it fades late in the end and never really looked like it. So opening score of the second half, a minor to the Blues.
2 straight kicks, Haim. 12 points, so much to play for both of these teams. McKenzie, good kick to Weller, who marks on defensive 50. That was a very good kick, spot on. We know McKenzie, such a beautiful kick off the football. Accuracy not always there with the short one, but that long kick was nice. Now Weller not so good out there looking for Aaron Hall, and it's just bounced inside the field of play. Louis McKenna, head in the hands. He should be well pleased with what's gone on so far in this game. O'Meara, that was nicely done. He got it down from Nichols, but lost the ball. McLean, now Murphy, might have been taken high there. There seemed to be an arm around the shoulder. That was bad from Bennell, who sent the ball the wrong way. Cruiser too slow. Good tackle in there by Sexton. There's still a chance, the Blues. Oh, what about the hands from Judd to Eddie Betts? And Eddie misses from dead in front. Wow.
Well, it probably deserved the miss, didn't it? Because Cruiser was tackled and completely dropped the ball. Should have been holding the ball, but the umpire allowed the play to play on.
Just watching Ablett. Curnow runs with him again to start this second half. Both Motawari boys grew up knowing of each other in the Jan Juck region. 6 years the senior, Ablett. But Curnow doing a reasonable job on a man that's hard to curtail. Ablett right on cue. Handballs to the running Sumner. Left it behind Walker. Just kicked it forward. Now it's desperate stuff from Sumner. The Blues have got the numbers.
High tackle, Carlton. High tackle, Curnow.
So they start things from the defensive side of the wing, and Watson this time goes looking for Rowe, and he finds him on this occasion. So Henderson's got May and Brown to beat. Brown suddenly the loose man. Garlett also inside 50. A couple of handballs, ends up with Garlett being the chosen one on the end of the Murphy kick.
And that's really good play by Cruiser too. He's identified that Mark Murphy is an elite kick, and we want the ball in his hands going inside 50, as was Bryce Gibbs a little earlier.
Well, the give to Watson, and from a long way out, Watson sets sail for home. He struck it perfectly. The Blues, they get the first of this third term. That's out to 13 points. Make it 19 points. The scoreboard took a while to tick over. 11 points at half-time. So 19 points the margin now, and Watson, who's just playing his third game of the year, gets dished off the ball and onto that left boot he goes. His first goal in AFL football, and it's a good one.
Good work by Jeffy Garlett too there, Ham, just making sure that he gave it to a player that knew could kick the distance. Jeffy Garlett there just identifying that Watson had the ability on that left to go back and kick long. Really good, smart play. Give it to a player that he knows can kick the distance.
And they got around him, the Blues. Matthew Watson, 14th game, first goal in senior football, and he enjoyed it. He's a thumping kick, isn't he?
He is, absolutely.
So 19 points to lead now for the Blues. First goal of this third term, and Cruiser dominant. We've heard about the hit-outs to advantage with Spike at half-time, and this perfect for Yaron. Bit of work to do. Bennell right there with him. How's he going to play this? He's done okay, but the situation not won yet. That was pretty clever by Russell up the line, but then the quick kick forward inside 50. Scotland did it nicely, and then a big fist away. Broughton combining, and they've got it over the line. Weller as well. In fact, it was Weller with a fist on the footy, so that was really good stuff for a throw-in on 50. Dixon up in front. Murphy tackled by Tape. Dixon, his kick into McLean. O'Meara kept the footy in front of him. Tui got a handball away to Judd. It ricocheted back towards Tui. Judd in there again. They're fighting hard. It'll be thrown up. So again, a little stalemate in the game. We've had pockets like this, haven't we, Mark? Yeah, we have, and the players are trying to work themselves out, identify the key matchups here as Mark Murphy gets out.
Streams into 50. Can he finish for the Blues? He's just across the face.
Well, we spoke early on about how great and a target Charlie Dixon is going to be. He's going to have to push into the ruck now because Nichols has come off with that proppy knee. He's put on the red vest, so he's out for the game. But that gives young Gilby now the opportunity to come on, use his leg speed. He's a great ball user and extremely quick player, which may help the Ziz in the Gold Coast team this second half.
Okay, so Jacob Gilby comes in for his first game of the year. He played the last two of 2012, one in 2011. He's in the final year of his contract. What can Gilby do to spark the Suns? They trail by 20. Blues through Cruiser looking to press forward again. This time Lucas has it knocked in his direction. The handball put Brock McLean under pressure, so he tumbles it inside 50. Off the feet of Yaron. Here's Jeffy Garlett with the pace. What can he do off the boot? Not as much as he would have liked.
Yeah, low percentage player by Jeffy. Could have just popped it to the top of the square. There's a couple of players, key position players there. Just pop it up, give it an opportunity. That's all he had to do, but unfortunately tried the check side.
Jeff Garlett, 4 goals 5 times this season, and whenever he's kicked a bag like that, the Blues have won. That's a great kick out for Broughton now. There's not much upfield, so it might be a short kick into the middle of the ground, and Shaw, who marks. Now he looks upfield. Hall is breaking for him, and it goes out in that direction. Brennan there as well. It was well read by Tui, who worked his way to the front and then gets his hands on the footy first. A long handball up the line to release the speed of Armfield. He couldn't quite get the footy. Broughton got him coming the other way. Broughton on Armfield. That was a big hit. Ball out now for Hall. He just had it at his feet and was slow to react. Well done, Harbrow. Not so slow to react. Here's Tui to Scotland. They work it back to Gibbs. He was slow there. Gilby got him but couldn't quite make the tackle stick. Well done, Brown. Tape involved. In fact, it was Russell. And now Dixon. Oh, that was clever around Garland. Then he threw the footy out in front of himself and just got boot to ball.
Jamison quickly set sail for home. It's a long ball. Henderson being outplayed by May in the end. So well done, May. Jamison Not a goal kicker by trade. 104th game, just one in his career.
Really like that play by both players. Committed to the footy, both going for the footy. Good, hard football.
Dixon, good grab, strong. So we know all about the work that he's going to be required to do this afternoon. He's got a fair bit of rucking ahead of himself. Not a great kick for Ablett, but all right to Gilby. And now carried forward. Well, no free kick and maybe holding the ball for Matt Shaw. They might get another chance, though. Gilby, Ablett. They're so Ablett conscious, and why wouldn't they be? And then the kick for Brennan, who turns 29 tomorrow. He marks about 75 from home.
Move it on.
He's got Sumner moving on the inside, and he's going to go to Sumner, who should get and go. He does. Not the best kick to the pocket. It was tough for Boston. He made it very hard there. Hard to mark running back with the flight of the ball and Juster behind. Probably should have done better there.
So we've played 8 minutes, 1 goal forward to the Blues in this third term. The first score there to the Suns as Carazzo gets outmanoeuvred by Russell, loops it over the top to Hall. Can the Suns get one here from 45? A long ball. The crowd likes it. So too does Hall. So the Blues that had a lot of the football, 1 goal for only after dominating the first 8 minutes with possession. And suddenly 1 goal, 1 in the last 30 seconds to the Suns, and we're back to 14. It was 11 at the long break. And Hall, from a long way out, does a good job to get them back into this game. 2 straight for Aaron Hall this afternoon.
Really good play. Competitiveness was fantastic there by Lukey Russell. Got the handball, did the smart work, and a beautiful finish inside 50. That's what Guy McKenna would have asked for. Just real effort when it's your turn to make a contest. Make sure you make it, and strong.
So 1-4 to 1-1 in this term in favour of the Blues. They had a lot of the footy. Well done by Boston. See, that was clever, but the kick not so good, and Simpson was in the right place. The footy falls into his hand. He goes quickly now to Lucas, who might just loop it back over the top. Well, he was looking for Simpson, and Brown again off his man, read it well, playing a great game.
He's done really well, hasn't he? He's played that for a long time. Played on the key forwards at the Hawks and dropped back and played that extra man. He's done it really well today. Just experience showing right through today for Campbell Brown.
Russell to Danny Stanley, played 5 games in 4 years under Mick Malthouse, and the kick is precise for Gilby, who's given them a bit since he's come onto the ground. The fresh legs, he's running hard. He went looking for Hall. It wasn't a great kick, and the ball will be thrown in right on the elbow where the 50 meets the boundary line. Well, it's been the pattern of the game, hasn't it? Carlton the fast start in each quarter, and then the Blues just pegging them back through the middle stages of the term.
Well, it's like the Suns just start closing down on Carlton after they get a run on, but they can't allow them to do that too often. Otherwise, Carlton have got the power, especially through their midfield, to put plenty of goals on the scoreboard.
Kuno sort of ducked ahead there. O'Meara coming the other way. What about the handball from Ablett? He gives it across. That was beautiful football. McKenzie to Bennell for the goal of the day. And they do it again. They answer. They keep finding the answers, and they keep that man, well, the one we saw first, on the edge of his seat. Guy McKenna with a lot to be pleased about. Mick Malthouse just can't feel comfortable. Gold Coast now 2-1 in this term. Carlton 1-4, and the Blues lead back to 8 points.
Really good work here by the Suns in tight. Look at that handball by Gary Ablett over the top of his head. And then Bennell, we know he's got the freakish ability. Didn't even allow himself to even step to one side to get a little bit of angle. Had to do it straight kick, which is really difficult. A shot on goal. Fantastic finish.
Well, breathtaking from Ablett and sublime by Bennell, and the Blues quickly inside 50 again. This time Henderson has to wait a long time for the football. Broughton, McKenzie, underground to Boston. Takes it cleanly, did a good job. Day's got a paddock. No Blue anywhere near him. He waits for it. He can just cruise on forward. Watson gets there in the end, and then the kick to half forward. Well, Brennan was the target, and he was on the lead, but Jamison ended up with it. Squeezed the handball to Murphy. Comes unstuck. Now he's got Ablett to beat. Ablett just keeps it pressed in. It comes out the back. The Blues, they might get away with this. Tui, Scotland, and now Walker, who's got that speed. Tries to get away from Brennan. Brennan did enough. They turn the ball over the Blues. Now it's Ablett and Jamison. Will he take him on? Well, now Gilby streams to full forward, and that's about all Ablett has for the moment. Long, he tries to get around himself. He squares it up and goes to Bennell, and he's got the same problems as Ablett did moments ago. Nothing really obvious on. So Bennell kicked the last. He puts it to about 30 out. He's going to have a leading Stanley. Weller goes back with a flight. They almost collided, the Suns. And the Blues, the beneficiaries. Simpson onto that left boot to the wing. Two Suns, just the one Blue. Brown front spot. May out the back. Brown loses his feet, gets the football. He tosses it towards the boundary. Deliberate the call. Right call, I think, Spike.
Not so subtle from Brownie. Just flicked it over the boundary. But the Gold Coast Suns have really picked up their pressure. They've had 13 tackles this quarter already. In the last quarter, they had 10 in total.
Well, the Blues have activated their sub. Keisha's come on for Lucas, who's gone to the bench. May have something to do with the hit that Lucas copped early, but I'd say Keisha will go into a tagging role now and get a little bit more competitive football back into the Blues.
Good on you, Welshie. So both subs into the game. Cruiser goes down towards full forward. That was well done by Tate. We're maybe chopping the arm, but the umpire said no. The kick not so good. And as Eddie did the chasing out, the tape kick not so good for Tui. Here's Armfield, dangerous one. Gilby, as I said, he's been lively since coming onto the ground. O'Meara, Ablett. He somehow got the handball away. Brilliant strength from Ablett. Armfield. Back it goes. Carazzo. Armfield, Scotland, and now a long kick down towards full forward. Garlett couldn't mark. Brown does the roving. Got it on the bounce. That was nicely done today, and now
they're on.
The kick is good. It came across from Broughton. Shaw, it needs to sit for Boston, and Boston, he's got a runner in support. It should go over the top, although instead Shaw comes into Shepherd. Not sure that was the right thing to do. The run, the lead from Hall, not so good, and Jamison, they probably should have done better, and Walker the clearing kick.
So it breaks down for the Suns and it opens up for the Blues. Curnow, he just dances around and retreats with the handball. Armfield, nice bounce for Armfield, and now the kick to Henderson. He just fumbled initially. He's got time to go and get it. The pressure from May, terrific. And it's ferocious on the outer side. The game's gone up a notch.
Drag it in. Dive on the ball.
You defend for so long and you deny the Blues, and then you give away a 50.
Yeah. Really disappointing now. You caught it well, Baz. Shaw probably could have peeled off and got the handball over the top. Instead, he decided to shepherd. He nearly ran his opponent into his teammate, caused the turnover, and then it slingshots back. Defend as hard as you can, as strong as you can. Both teams flat out on their feet, and 50 metre just to top it off really hurts.
Well, Henderson, he's been very valuable for the Blues in recent weeks. The last 2 wins, he's kicked 7 goals. A 4 and a 3-goal haul. He's not going to add to his 2 this afternoon. So the Suns breathe a sigh of relief, and the Blues remain anxious.
Well, you feel like the Blues needed that goal, didn't they? They have been under siege. It should have been at least a score at the other end. They just didn't play it as well as they could have. Mackenzie's kick, not the best one, but Sumner on the end of it. It was a bit of a floater. They had the numbers in the contest, and Sumner takes a good grab. He chips it over the top. Dixon called into it by Gilby and takes a good mark. It's Carlton by 9 points. It was 11 points at the long break. Kick towards half forward. Ablett somehow. Curnow, though, got there. Walker. Back to Scotland. He can release to Curnow. Might do that now. No, he took on Sexton and then kicks up the wing. Bounces away from Cruiser. Tough one there. Henderson tackled by his opposite, number 23. And the umpire says, up it goes
Didn't
again.
dive on the ball. Different. Thank you. Thanks, Charlie.
Gary's sitting forward deep. Andrew Walker's gone to him now. Made the change. Curnow moves up the ground into the midfield.
So Shaw gathers. Murphy chases. Handball over the top to Bennell. Fumbles. Will he get another opportunity? Here comes Dennis. He was good at the football. He wanted the football. He knocked it to Scotland. Suddenly, here comes the sub in Keisha. He pulls the kick. It was a beautiful kick. It's going to work out perfectly for Brock McLean.
Disappointing effort, Ham, through the middle of the ground. Harley Burnell, he fumbled the footy, and he just had to go the footy. He just had to put his head down and go straight at his opponent and make a real hard contest. He slowed up. Carlton Carlton player went harder than what he did and the ball got turned over. Disappointing play there. Guy McKenna wouldn't be happy with that effort.
So Brock McLean struggled to stay fit and get a game for the Blues. 11 games in 3.5 years. He hasn't missed this year. He's played all the games for the Blues, and Carlton fans don't want him to miss right now. Looks good, looks great. Blues fans delighted. Well done, Brock McLean. So back out to 15 points and game of inches. We talk about Bennell gets the ball going forward and suddenly the Suns can press and really have a great opportunity to get it back to within 3 points. 2-goal turnaround. Blues get the goal through the turnover. Brock McLean, the man that does the damage.
Well, efforts in games and little mistakes cause big problems at times or help you win the game. And Harley Bennell just had to go a little bit harder there through the middle of the ground. He fumbled the footy when he was on the end of it. Blues turned it over, and a great finish by Brock McLean. Went back and slotted the goal.
Yeah, not a great moment for the Gold Coast Suns, and certainly not a great moment for Harley Bennell in game 46. Murphy, nicely done. Got it to Scotland, and now Simpson on. And what he may well have done here is just given Carlton a bit of confidence. Get their heads up. Brown in best position. Strong mark, Campbell.
You can feel the confidence down here, Baz, of the Carlton players. Scotland's starting to get a lot more of the ball. McLean, Murphy, these are their experienced guys who know what to do in this scenario.
And as Mark alluded to, I think what was worse in that situation from Bennell was once he'd made the error, there was no chase. He didn't try and get back into the contest or plug up a hole or find a man.
Free kick.
I mean, we all make mistakes in games, and we've all done it. But that was just so crucial for his side at that moment.
And that's what the Monday morning review is for, especially at a young club like the Gold Coast Suns. They'll go through it, they'll work on it, and hopefully it won't happen next time. Charlie Dixon, long kick, Ablett front and centre. So he kicks into a vacant 50. There's no one in there. The first player to cross the line now. Murphy gets there, the skipper for the Blues. He looks upfield, and he's got Gibbs breaking for him, who in turn has Curnow, broadcast side. Curnow can go over the top, and the run is on now. Simpson's got the footy, and the kick towards the wing needed to be precise. Well done by McLean. It was a good effort to mark, but he couldn't, and Russell did really well. First the fist, then the follow-up. He gave it to Brown, got it back, and then kicks to the middle of the ground, and he's away again.
Almost away. The handball just behind him. Had to wait, go get it again. Weller, handball's inside. Now to Hall. He goes to an ugly sort of a spot for Scotland. He's got to wait and be courageous, and he was. Didn't complete the mark. Day tries to get out of trouble. Little handball to Sumner. He kicks the ball forward. Carazzo. And now the cool head of the Irishman. A brilliant kick to Yaron. A foreign game, a foreign ball in a foreign land. It's like a duck to water for Zach Tui. They bring it wide to McLean, who goes back inside to Judd. So the Blues stand up as the Suns press forward.
Move it on. Play on.
Wide to Simpson. He's had a fair bit of the football this afternoon. 18th possession.
Move it on. Play on.
So Lucas off the ground, and this man about to mark the ball is the man that wore the green vest at the start of the game. Bootsman named in the side. Keisha omitted. Keisha gets to stay in the side, and Josh Bootsman watches on. Rowe, not quite. McKenzie tried to work his way through. High the call.
Jacob Gilby running with Chris Judd. And Juddy's only had the 13 disposals today, so Jacob getting real experience playing on one of the best players ever to play the game and keeping the 13 touches.
So McKenzie, such a prolific player for the Suns last weekend in that memorable victory over the Pies. As the Suns awoke from their mid-season slumber, they are trying to claim another big scalp. Today is an opportunity. Ablett hasn't been as damaging as he was last weekend. I believe he's had the ball 22 times already, almost 23. Harbrow tries to get through Blues. He does, puts it into the running Shaw's path. Curnow brilliant to Scotland, now Carazzo, and the Blues have got the numbers at halfback, but nothing really obvious forward of the ball. So Gibbs retreats and back to Carazzo, who can go over the top to Walker.
Walker breaking for him now, and he marks Campbell Brown just manning the mark, trying to hold him up. That's a low one. Not a good kick for Curnow. Had to wait for it on the bounce. That kick spot on. Maybe in part by luck, in part by skill, but Simpson on the wing. Now Scotland breaking. And Scotland, from just forward of the wing, he sends a long one inside 50. It was a big pack and arms and legs going everywhere. Ball over the line. It's going to be tossed in. Carlton by 15 points. And you just get the feeling that the Gold Coast Suns probably need the next one, or at least one, with the 3 minutes and 3 seconds remaining. Cruiser over the top, clever. Well done by Harbrow. Such a good player for the Gold Coast Suns. He kicks towards the wing. Day did nicely, caused the contest, but they're outnumbered at ground level. Carazzo backwards to Gibbs. They've done this well, haven't they, all afternoon. Walker, they've spread quickly from half back and more often than not been able to get the ball into their own teammates' hands from a long kick. Cruiser may have had his arm taken by Dixon. That was unlucky for Scotland at the back. Now Harbrow, he gets it to Boston, kick into the middle of the ground and Shaw, and this might sit for him. He needs it just to bounce up. No one inside 50, so he either takes a shot or stops. He elects to stop and come back to Brown. The whistle went before the mark was completed. Umpire says play on as a result. No harm done. Campbell Brown attacking edge of the square. Hall caught behind Gibbs. Gibbs the double fist over the line.
And the Suns coaching staff have made the decision. When the ball goes into their forward line, they've got no one at the fall of the ball. So they've sent Campbell Brown from centre half back now back into that position that he's played all year as a crumbing forward.
So desperate times for the Blues here in defence. Walker terrific to Gibbs. Just walks around Gilby and then kicks to the outer side. Henderson, well, going back with a flight and doing a tough job. And leaving it all for Armfield is Henderson. And that ball in the Rowe direction. McKenzie to beat. Well done, Rowe. Now he's got to be calm under pressure. He strikes the ball. It never looked good off the boot. It's looking to the outer side. To the Sun that was so desperate. It was Broughton in the end that forced the issue. It was to the advantage of Armfield. Now Sexton.
Mick's down on the bench. He's pacing anxiously. Tui in front. Did that well. Bennell. And the ball over the line. Tui, that was interesting, wasn't it? Ran back onto the field of play to be able to come off.
That's what the new rule's done to them.
Now, fair enough. They've got to be super conscious of that, don't they? Now, running onto the ground is Robinson. The ball comes down in front to Curnow. Yaron was in front. It was Eddie Betts, in fact. Now Tate was slower too back there. Russell, here's Eddie. He gives it to the man just on the ground, Mitch Robinson. Long down towards full forward. Well done. That was a good fist away. Clever work by May, who then gives it to Broughton, who can take on Rowe. Well, he did, and he appeared to be away from Rowe, but there was nothing to go to. He kicks to May. Nobody realised it wasn't the required distance, and that is a very unfortunate outcome for the Gold Coast Suns, as Garlett marks directly in front. 45 seconds left on the clock.
Well, it was a funny old kick by Day. It didn't go far enough. The umpire called play on. He didn't realise it, and once he did realise, he had a Carlton player push right up on him, and he just quickly kicked it onto his foot into the worst part of the ground, or the most dangerous part.
So Garlett with just 1-1 this afternoon. He's been lively, but not always accurate, and again he misses. Gee, that would have been a real dagger into the Gold Coast Suns. 16 seconds left on the clock, and it's 17 points.
Shades of around 22 last year. 11-20. The Blues getting rolled by the Suns by 12 points, 15-8. Sorry, Welshie.
I was saying, Mick said last week how disappointed that they didn't take their opportunities of gold. Those are the ones they have to make to really bury teams if they're going to be a chance for the finals.
So 5-5 from set shots, the Blues this afternoon. And at three-quarter time, they're not home. And Mick Malthouse looks a concerned coach. Jago Mira, he's been around the place today again, getting the ball 15 times. Three-quarter time at Metricon. Blues by 8 at quarter time, 11 at half time. At the final change, it's the Blues by 17. A big 30 minutes of footy coming your way. Stick around.
It's been a fascinating game of football, and well, in all reality, the game could be over. Carlton lead it by 17 points at the last change, but in that term, the third term, a wasteful 2 goals, 7. 2-7 to 2-1, so 9 scoring shots to just 3, and that's given us our three-quarter time scoreline. 10-19 the Blues, 79. The Gold Coast Suns still alive, 9-8-62. The Blues by 17 points, and not significant changes in the goal-kicking columns. Scotland are getting a lot of the footy, 27 touches today. And Gary Ablett, a little quieter than last week. He can't be on world record pace every afternoon. 49 last week against Collingwood, and a little quieter today with just 22 to three-quarter time, but we know what he's capable. Guy McKenna really urging his team on. He knows they can finish fast and they can finish well at home, and the Blues will be well aware of that, Andrew Welsh.
Cruiser was really pivotal last week in getting the Carlton Blues over the line with his ruck work. That's going to be the matchup for this last quarter, I think. Charlie Dixon and Cruiser going head-to-head now. Nichols going off, so Cruiser and Dixon are going to have to go for it. Dixon is just coming back from injury, so he's going to be hard. His legs are going to be heavy. It's going to come down to concentration for him. He's just got to be able to compete in the ruck and make sure that Cruiser doesn't get it out on the fly around the ground. It's going to be a great challenge for him. Dixon coming back in from injury, not the position that they want to be in, having to work so hard in this last quarter, but it's going to be a key role, and if he can have that, I'm sure the Gold Coast will be right in this game.
Good on you, Welsh. It is all to play for, isn't it, Mark McVeigh? And we've said it a few times this afternoon, but Carlton 9th. I mean, they can drop this game and still play finals football, but it would be unlikely, wouldn't it?
Well, you wouldn't want to drop it because they would feel that they're a lot better, or a better side than what the Suns are at this stage. And look, the game's going to be open right up now. It started to open up in that last quarter. There was plenty of space through the midfield. The Suns could have just jumped on a couple of the end of their decision-making, but they made a few crucial errors that turned the ball over, and Carlton, they're such a good side in terms of attacking, were able to kick some crucial goals. So they'll have to make sure they cover all around the ground, be strong at the contest and be clean when they get a chance to get it out.
The Suns going for consecutive wins for just the second time. They did it earlier this year in rounds 7 and 8. They beat Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. But these scalps would sound a lot more impressive, wouldn't they? Collingwood followed up by Carlton. They're down by 17 points, though. Last quarter ahead of us on a Saturday afternoon.
So Sam Day finds himself in the ruck against Matty Cruiser. The final act about to be played out at Metricon, and it's a perfect bounce to get things underway. Day wins it and knocks it down to Stanley. The foot race between Robinson and Ablett, and Robinson makes a sure thing of it, puts Gary on all fours. Judd picks up, give it to Scotland, and onto the left boot to the leading Henderson. May did a good job of it. Might just stay in for Sumner, does. Little give to Bennell, back to Sumner. Now what can they conjure here, the Suns? Gilby gets outplayed by Walker in the end. Walker did a good job of it.
Move it on. Play on.
So again, Henderson, the chosen one. May, the job to do on Henderson all day, and he's done it reasonably well. Henderson has kicked a couple, and he sends them into dangerous territory here. Garlett will have the speed you'd suggest against Russell. The bounce unkind to Garlett. Russell grabbed it in midair, was taken to ground by Garlett. Have a look at Gary Ablett here with Mitch Robinson. The big bump.
Yeah, nothing in the head if we look here. Straight in the chest. Just picked him off early before he got a chance to get to the ball.
We spoke to Mick before the game, and he said, well, I think Robinson might go past Ablett throughout the game, and he definitely did there.
I think he said he'd go past him, not through him.
A bit of both there, wasn't it? Ball out of bounds, and out of bounds on the full. So Jamison to bring it back in, and well, that was just the required 15. We saw one late in the third term that wasn't allowed. It caught Stephen May out. They didn't pay the price in the end because Garlett missed from dead in front. Now the long kick inside 50. Ball on the deck here. Tape still alive. Murphy, the skipper, he grabbed the footy. Maybe the initial arm was a little bit high, but the umpire says nope. And up we go again. I just wonder on Bennell how much of a cook Guy McKenna would have given him. He's such a great teaching coach. Keisha applies a great tackle, and then he steals the ball off Tape and just misses. Wow. They've been wasteful in front of goal, although that wasn't an easy kick. I wonder, on that point, Bluey McKenna, do you think he would have told Bennell of his error there?
I'm sure he would have. He would have identified it, or one of the assistant coaches. But as we said, he'll be better for it once he sees it either Monday morning. But he can turn it around. The last quarter, we know he's a match-winning type player.
Well, Sumner, the handball, ricochets back to Mira after the kick from the blue. And what can he conjure up here, the youngster, to 60? And now Brown, a one-on-one with Tui. The Irishman did well, held his ground. Brown was working him over in the flight, and Tui. He's turning out to be a very, very good blue.
Scotland's on here inside defensive 50, takes the footy and runs immediately in the kick for Eddie Betts onto his chest, and he marks. So Carlton's lead still 17 points behind each to start this final term. Biggest lead of the game, 26 points, but that was right back early in the first quarter of football. Here's Judd. Handball for Armfield. He can release quickly to Keisha. Good tackle by Hall, but he got his arm free. Mackenzie comes and gets the footy and then leaves it behind. Murphy gets it from Armfield. Handball over the top for Eddie Betts. He's kicked a couple. He goes unselfishly over the top, and the goal is kicked by Henderson. Too many numbers and too good a system, and they just worked it forward, and that one makes it very difficult now. Guy McKenna, 23 points is the Carlton lead now, and well played by Carlton there. They just kept looking up unselfishly each time, popping it over the top, and probably fancied that Eddie Betts might have had a shot, but in the end, goal for Henderson.
And it was just weight of numbers, wasn't it? All the quick players getting involved. Armfield, Murphy, and then Betts, and then nice little unselfish handball over the top to Henderson in the goal square. They really needed that goal. They'd missed a lot beforehand.
Harbrow to Ablett. In the end, terrific from Walker. He's found a new home down there for the Blues. And the kick comes in the Curnow direction. He has another win over Gary Ablett.
He's been able to gather the ball 19 times himself, Hames, so he's done a terrific job on Gary Ablett.
As we said earlier, from Motowari is Cruiser. Takes a strong grab. Same territory as Gary growing up, and he has come to AFL the long way round. Rookie listed with Adelaide, never really got a run at it, and then won a best and fairest with the Box Hill Hawks after playing just 12 games, and then got his opportunity with the Blues back in 2011, Curnow, and he's made the most of it. Robinson taken, high tackle the call, so the Blues can really put the Suns right on the back foot here.
Hold there.
Well, Scotland's got a leading Eddie Betts, and over the shoulder perhaps from Tate, but he gets the job done.
They're trying to expose the Gold Coast defenders with speed. They've got Garland, Betts, Yarran, Murphy all up in the forward line now for Carlton.
Inside 50s for the match, 52 Carlton, 31 Gold Coast. They have had a lot more of the footy, but as we've said a few times, they haven't made them pay. Dangerous from Bennell to Ablett. Then he got it across to Harbrow. Still a dangerous footy, although when it's in his hands, you feel reasonably confident. It was a good kick by Ablett, short to Mackenzie. So alongside the behind post, 23 points. He plays on dangerously. Garlett, Bennell, Ablett, Judd. Ablett and Judd. Well, we've been waiting for that pretty much all afternoon. It was only a fleeting look at it, but even the fleeting look was exciting. Two of the great champions, 3 Brownlow medals between them, and at the end of this season, it may well be a 4th.
So Cruiser tries to find Keisha. Bennell just steals and spirals the ball into the middle. Now Gilby, he's got Jamison to beat. Jamison got there first. Over the top, Gilby. No one forward of the ball for the Suns. So Gilby, he set sail for home. Sexton's going to go in that direction as Gilby got the pace. Simpson's closing down on him. They go at it. The boundary line might beat both of them, make it the goal line. And it does.
Simpson quickly back into Tui. Well, again, decision-making, Mark, just hasn't been spot on, has it, coming forward?
Well, that kick needed to be a little bit more weighted to his teammate, didn't he? Put it way too far out in front of him. And Simpson, we know, covers the ground really well and was able to cover the couple of metres that his player had on him.
Walker for McLean, back to Simpson. Still inside defensive 50 with all of this, and now Gibbs free. He can pop one over the top. The mark taken by Watson. He's enjoying his time in the big league. Carazzo back to Watson. He runs around dangerously, hugging the top of the 50-metre arc, but no real pressure on here. Andrew Walker drifts free and marks. The kick okay for Curnow, although he took it on the half volley. It's a beautiful take. And then the ball is off to Robinson. The kick forward for Armfield. And now running hard, Jamison cruises past. He kicked a goal in this term. Murphy missed what he should have taken. Garlett mopping up. Oh, Garlett spectacular. He dances across the top of the 50. The kick offline.
Chris Judd, he's only had the 15 possessions today. He was you played on him a number of times throughout your career. How do you see his form at the moment, and how's he been moving out there today?
Yeah, I think one of his keys is he used to have that real explosive pace in and around stoppages, and he doesn't seem to have that at the moment. That's just your body as you're getting older. He doesn't have, but what he does do is he directs his teammates really well, and he helps out these younger guys around the footy because he knows that, look, he's not as sharp as he used to be. Still a brilliant footballer, but his impact was in and around those stoppages, and he just doesn't have that explosive pace that he used to.
Well, Dixon's kick found Gibbs, and suddenly the Blues are away again. Carazzo over the top to McLean. Was touched. Not enough to affect Brock McLean, who just threads the ball to Lockie Henderson. It's been all Blues in this final term. 3-2 for Henderson so far this afternoon, coming off a couple of big weeks.
Fantastic ball use there, Brock McLean, right out in front, giving the Suns defender no chance to get a fist in at all.
So 23 before the kick, and 23 is the kicker, and he makes it 29. So the young man from Birregurra, who's enjoyed his football as the Blues, makes it extremely difficult now for the Suns. Played 15 games in this part of the world for the Lions over a couple of years, and went down to the Blues as a part of that famous trade with Favola, and the Blues would be very pleased with how the trade has worked out.
There you see Henderson kicking another goal. And you'd have to think that he'd have to stay in the forward line for the remainder of the year. If Matthew Watson and, of course, Jamison can hold down that position with the help of Walker and Scotland and a couple of key players getting back to help out, you'd have to think he'd have to hold that forward position for them to be a chance to make September action.
18 goals for the season. He hasn't played the whole year up forward, so it's a handy return now, isn't it? It does just give him another avenue to attack, more strings to their bow. Bursting through was Robinson. He gave it off the back to Carazzo, off half back. A long kick at the back. The big fly was from Yaron. He couldn't mark Henderson waiting down. He applies a bit of pressure. O'Meara did nicely, got the handball to Hall. They work it backwards. May, Shaw. This is where they're just held up a little, waiting for players to break. That's a very good jump and almost catch by Sexton. He just couldn't quite complete the mark. Good tackle then on Tui as well. Betts. Well, that's interesting. Betts had the footy.
You just dropped it. Come back on.
So it was against Betts, was it? Well, dropped it. You heard the umpire. And Hall's got it on the wing. 29 points. Hard to see the Gold Coast Suns getting back into it from here with less than 12 minutes to play now. They've been gallant today, but it hasn't been their best footy. They haven't been able to reproduce what they produced last week. O'Meara short for Harbrow, who waited for the footy, and now he's away. He gets to the 50, steps inside. It's a long one. Sumner at the back had a hand up. He wanted a free kick. Walker wanted a free kick. They can't both have a free kick. And in the end, the umpire said, toss it in.
Hold the mate up.
Yeah, really stiff there on Eddie Betts, dropping the ball. He didn't have much option, and really quick on the whistle.
So Brown just taken to ground in the end by Gibbs, and
I'll have that. Thank you.
umpire didn't have any other decision to make. He'll throw it up just 25 out from the Suns' goal.
Hold that. Play on.
O'Meara to a bit of space, ends up with Brown. Gibbs fists the ball away. Now Simpson, who's got that great relationship with his left boot, puts it into the middle. McKenzie traps it, goes short, finds his man in Stanley. He's kicked one for the afternoon, Danny Stanley. It was at the same end from a set shot. He won't get a set shot here.
Just let it go. That was forced into the ground, that one, okay?
Come here. I'm here, mid-zone.
So he can do something wrong, Gary Ablett.
Well, I'd love to see free kicks for and against. I reckon they'd be heavily in the for, Haim.
Murphy sweeps it to Keisha. And then onto the left boot. Cruiser caught behind. Dixon couldn't get a paw onto it, and it spills out the back for Armfield. He's got that pace. And the finish. Well, he's hard to stop Dennis Armfield in a one-on-one speed race, and he had the wits about him in the end to put boot to ball. And suddenly it's game, set and match to the Blues. 35 points the margin now with 10.5 to play. The old Lee Matthews adage, goals to minutes as long as you need less goals than minutes, but it's a tough assignment now.
And here we just see Gary reacting, which he doesn't usually do. Mitch Robertson makes the most of being pushed over in the free kick. Well, it was reversed. The Suns were in attacking position, and that's unlike Gary Ablett.
Well, it is when he copped so much attention. I guess it wasn't that out of the ordinary, was it? Charlie Dixon gets the foot. He's going to send it long here. This is a really big kick in the Sumner direction. Sumner was up high at the back, but up in front, Watson. Well done, waiting down. Day bounces it through. They get one back, the Gold Coast Suns. Nice roving, big contest, and ball hit the deck, and Day did the rest. Just back to that Ablett remonstration, though. I mean, he's copped that sort of attention all his career, hasn't he? So the reaction was just a little over the top.
We all focus on it, but look, in the context of the game, it's not that big of a deal. But what he cops behind the ball compared to most, you can. Good goal there by the Suns, by Sam Day, who rove the ball and dribbled it through. Fantastic play, and there's still a chance here, Baz. They're not going away yet.
13-21 the Blues lead it by 29 points as Ablett gets a little toe poke forward, ricocheted back to the wing. Keisha just watches on Curnow, goes and wins the football, can't get it cleanly to a blue, and then it spills out. Again, Robinson in that desperate style of his goes searching. McLean for Scotland, kicked wide. Judd's going to go and win the football and send it into space. Sexton beaten by Walker. Was it deliberate? No. So the Suns need the next. Just under 10 minutes to play, and they've got 5 goals to get, and they can't allow the Blues to score. Dixon searches, allowed to go nowhere.
Well, before that last goal dribbled through by Sam Dayhome, they had kicked the last 4 goals of the game, the Blues, to take it right away from the Gold Coast Suns. There is just a glimmer if they can get the next one quickly, as Mark McVeigh said.
Well, Bennell to O'Meara, who keeps it in and sends it long. Maybe a chance here at the fall of the ball. Sumner, desperate, gives it to Gilby. The kick was not so good. The Blues, hands on it first this time. Carazzo underneath it all. Can Brock McLean find a way? Stanley holds them up.
Thank you. Thanks, Brock. Cheers.
Well, if there is a glimmer of hope, it's got to be right here. Dixon, Brown, he finishes. Maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel for the Suns.
Well, here we go. Couple in a row for the Gold Coast Suns. It's back to 23 points, under 4 goals, more than manageable.
Absolutely, and Campbell Brown made the decision early to get on the attack, to run forward hard. He spoke to Charlie Dixon. You could see the eyeballs were looking at each other and hinted that he was going to get on the burst, and it come off for him. And Campbell Brown made the decision to go before the ball was even decided. He knew Charlie Dixon was on the burst, got through and hit it hard on the run. Really good play, really good vision by both players to identify that they had a chance of getting it forward.
They're fast finishers. We've seen them kick the last 2 in a row here. Can they get a couple more? Judd now out of the middle. That was a tough bouncing ball. It was well controlled in the end on the bounce, though, by Broughton. And now across to Shaw. They've worked that nicely. Shaw can draw the man. He goes inside to O'Meara. Here's Ablett. It'd be fitting a long goal on the run. The handball not so good for Hall. Tui in. Might have left that footy behind there. Coming in hard, Yaron. Ablett again, trying to release. Well done to Bennell. whose handball is good for day. Top of the 50. He steadies himself. He sends it long. He's offline. It's 22 points. And they are starting to believe the Gold Coast Suns.
Absolutely. And Sam Day had a couple of options on there in the inside 50. Just had to steady, but he had a shot. Made the distance easy. Just need to spot up a target inside 50.
Rowe called to play on, which suits McKenzie. Runs at the football, can't control it. Spills back to Murphy, taken on by Sexton. The two 17s, May and Rowe. May wins the battle. Back it goes Simpson. He does a good job of it. He takes his man to ground in the end.
They've just got to keep taking the game on here, the Suns. They're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. But if they're going to win this game, they've got to keep bringing the ball through the midfield and taking those risky options.
In the end, Simpson did a good job on Boston, and Murphy not so good with the bouncing ball.
You don't see that very often, Mark Murphy making a skill error, and he was away then. They were a big opportunity down the line to hit some targets up.
Well, the next play and the next goal will tell a big tale in this game. Ablett onto the left boot, brings it back to the wing. Bennell and McLean. Ball off hands. Murphy not able to take it as cleanly as he would have liked. The Suns, though, somehow get it through. Simpson, he didn't take it. Sexton, Gibbs. Clever little kick, not 15 the call, but the Blues have got possession. They've got some space, and they've got a runner in Scotland. It settles for him now. Simpson ahead. Onto the left, over the top of Simpson to Cruiser. Simpson continues to just roll on by. He might be chosen now. He is, and he marks just outside of the 50. Short ball, a running Betts kick, not ideal.
Right into the ground for the Blues, who just feel like they now need the steadier. There's still plenty of time. 7 minutes and 2 seconds remaining, and the lead is 22 points. A bit of pressure on Carlton here to get one. A couple of ruckmen up there. O'Meara, though, just waiting down. McKenzie, Ablett feeds it over the top. Tough one for May to take. He gets it on the bounce. Armfield the chaser. He did brilliantly then. We know how quick he is. Kick not spot on, though. Tough one for the Gold Coast Suns. Tui is first back. Handball's over Bennell's head. Carazzo back to Tui. They steady down at midfield, and Yaron has the footy. And they might like to just slow the tempo here, I reckon. And the experienced hands of Yaron across to Jamison, that's what they do. Just take a little bit of sting out of the Gold Coast Suns run.
The Suns had an outnumbered there in that contest, but 3 players went to one Carlton player, which released another. Well, they should have just peeled off and pointed and made sure that one closed down the play with the ball and the other one cut out the outlet.
Probably didn't need the push there from Day either. I think Cruiser had been worked under the footy, and it was a free ball. Now Rose taking it about 55 from home. So it's been an encouraging last 10 minutes from the Gold Coast Suns, and I guess a worrying last 10 from the Blues, but one would just about finish off the game, and that one over Garlett's head. And again, right spot for the Blues, but just one more goal required. Charlie Dixon, he kicked the Suns' first goal in AFL football. It was against Carlton in round 2, 2011.
And the Suns right now desperate to stop the Blues kicking a goal. Brock McLean might just change a bit of that off hands. It goes to the goal square. May again sends it through. Back out to 23. So the Suns on the ropes, but not quite the canvas, but is going to take a monumental effort from here. The clock almost to 5 minutes. The Suns have kicked the last couple. So the lights have been switched on, and Day does a good job of it for the Suns. In the absence of Thompson and Prestia, a number of players have had to play roles which Guy McKenna and his team wouldn't ideally like to see them play. Thompson laid out with the ankle, not passing the fitness test yesterday, and Prestia not coming up with a hamstring. The master onto the left boot, goes in search of Lockie Henderson. He keeps it in, does a good job, then puts it to some dangerous space. Keisha, Armfield, no one taking it cleanly. Betts, full of the ball, threads it to Dennis. Dennis, can he finish off the Suns? He can.
Dennis Armfield, born in Canberra, moved to Perth as a kid. Many ways the forgotten part of the Chris Judd, Josh Kennedy trade between Carlton and West Coast. He was taken with pick 46, which went from West Coast to Carlton in the trade, and Well, it was a very handy double, wasn't it, Judd? And the speed of Armfield, and 29 points now. Hard for the Suns.
And Eddie Betts is always dangerous at ground level. Fired out a nice handball to Armfield, and you'd think that'd be it for the Suns. They had a mini comeback there, but Carlton have done the job that's required. Come up here and make sure you win the game, and that's what they should go on and do.
Boston taken high. Was that legal? Boston legal. It must have been. Long ball down inside 50. Tate fisting away from Henderson. Garlett. He was tackled by Broughton.
Go through.
Garlett's had an interesting afternoon. Hasn't he? Got his hands on the footy a lot. 1 goal 3. I mean, wasteful for a man of his skill.
They have been dangerous, those 3 small forwards, though. They've created havoc, which what Mick would have asked for before they ran out today. 2
for Yaron, 2 for Eddie, and 2 for Armfield, and 1-3. Now 1-4 off hands for Garlett, and of course 4 goals 2 for Lockie Henderson. It's a fair spread, isn't it? A potent spread.
And that's what they need each week. They need those players up and going, having plenty of shots on goal. Plus they're running mids in Murphy, Carazzo, and of course Judd. That provides a lethal attack.
So it's a 5-goal lead now to the Blues as Ablett just works his way through the Blues and handballs to the running Tape, who gives it back to Dixon. Can he find Stanley? He can. Now, the man with a bit of space on the other side is Boston. He's got no one really obviously running at him. And now it's the long ball to half forward over the top, Simpson. If the ball settles, he can use Carazzo. It came back to Carazzo in the end, and it spills to Bennell. So Bennell onto the left boot. Pulls the kick, goes searching for Shaw. Murphy forces the issue, brings it to ground and sets Yaron away, who got rid of the ball. He's being tackled to Rowe, to Robinson, now to Armfield, who's kicked a couple of goals, and now he sends it long again. Betts, Cruiser just knocks it over the top. Well, final drinks are being called at Last Chance Saloon for the Suns, but it's going to be a Blues win. And suddenly it's 3 on the bounce for the Blues, and September remains firmly on the agenda for the Carlton Football Club as they are going to get the business done this afternoon. Harbrow, Keisha, help from Broughton, a chance for Watson now for Betts. Eats this up, eats it up and gets his 3rd.
Well done, Eddie. Eddie Betts, 3 goals 2. He's added to that illustrious tally of goal kickers for the Blues today. I mean, 4 goals 2 Henderson, 3 goals 2 Betts, and then, as we mentioned just a moment ago, a couple for Yaron, a couple for Armfield, and Jeff Garlett should have done much better. 1 goal for his return, 15-23. This has been a good win by the Blues because they would have been nervous coming up here against the informed Suns.
Eddie, once again, at ground level, keeps his feet, always waiting for that opportunity of a ball to spill out. And if he doesn't have a direct opponent who's been lost in play or tried to make an impact, he's always there to clean up and have a quick shot on goal. 2
goals last week for Eddie, and he's got 3 here this afternoon. So good performance in what's going to go down as a very good team performance by the Blues. Simpson got it from Carazzo. Gibbs, nicely done. Tui away through the middle of the ground. Look at the explosive speed of the Irishman and the football control, if you don't mind. A couple of bounces. Eddie let him down with the mark. Broughton right there with him. Eddie's not out of this yet. Look out. He'll make something happen. He kicks back towards May, who gathers on the bounce. He sends it in the Simpson direction. He's the only man there. It's coming back in. McLean is one target, or longer still Rowe. It got to Rowe on the bounce, who did well there. He got out of the tackle, back to Gibbs, and now Curnow, top of the 50-metre arc. Brown, well done. He provided some pressure. Curnow got the footy again. Armfield, he'd love a 3rd. He kicks backwards, though, and they've got the ball again through Carazzo.
Armfield so lively. So Robinson, who's sort of an afternoon as he had in your view, Mark McVeigh, as he comes back in and tries to cement himself in this Carlton side.
Up and down, of course, coming out of the VFL, and we've seen him give away a couple of cheap free kicks there that Mick wouldn't have been happy with, but he's had an impact physically, which is what he's probably his best attribute. And you'd think that the Blues would keep him in for a bit longer yet, especially once the season gets a little bit tougher towards September.
So just going through the numbers, Ablett's had the ball 32 times. So has Heath Scotland, the two major ball winners, as the Blues just wind the clock down now at Metricon. There'll be a lot of happy Blues fans making their way back to Melbourne tonight, a lot on the beaches and the concourse and the streets this morning. It's a fun road trip if you are a supporter of a Melbourne club and want to get out of the gloom of Melbourne. And it's not an easy road trip anymore. Certainly a very different road trip to what it was 12 months ago. So a good win for the Blues coming up as Jamison finds himself forward of the wing. Again, it's Henderson, and again, Henderson's the man that's reliable when the kicks come to him like that.
It was a terrific kick. He actually made the forward in Henderson lead to that position. He went wide on the wing, up against the pocket, and his kick was so good through the middle of the ground to give him more opportunity to hit target from Nelly directly in front. Really good kick by Jamison.
So 4 goals, 2 for the afternoon for Lockie Henderson. That comes off 3 straight last week and 4 goals, 2, which was a personal best the week prior against St Kilda. And it started and stayed there to the left of the upright.
Worth mentioning too, Haim, the work of Big Matty Cruiser today. 40 hit-outs, he's had 16 to advantage. They are outstanding numbers.
Yeah, amazing. And he's a player in red-hot form. We seen him last week, how terrific he was, but today he's been outstanding again, once again.
Jamison did well there. He fisted the footy forward. He got it to Garlett, and now McLean, he threads it through, and with 2 seconds left on the clock, make it 1. It will stop. Carlton's lead is 43 points. And, well, in the end, it's going to be a very healthy win for the Carlton Blues. And they're going to improve above 50%. They came in at 8 and 8, 9th on the ladder. They'll be 9 and 8 now, knowing that Brisbane obviously travel to Amy Stadium to play Port Adelaide. An upset there puts the Blues in the 8 at the end of round 18.
Absolutely, and they've got Brisbane next week, followed by the Dockers, the Western Bulldogs, Richmond and the Bombers. So not an easy run home. They need to win majority of those games, but of course they'll be relying on a couple of teams to fall over on the weekend, Baz.
Well, the Blues fans, they'll be watching tomorrow. Port Adelaide hosting the Brisbane Lions, the first of the 3 games on Sunday afternoon football. But after a month of losses for the Blues, they make it 3 in a row. St Kilda, North Melbourne, and now the Suns.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team on Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
Well, another win for the Blues. Welshie and the skipper will be pretty pleased.
Murph, great to get a win up here, mate. Real danger game, but your boys played well.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, they've been playing some really good footy. Had a great win last week against Collingwood, so we knew we had to be at our best to make sure we knocked them off, and I thought we played a pretty good 4-quarter effort.
And coming back from the head injury, you seem to be getting confidence each week. 27 disposals today. Was a great game.
Yeah, I started to get a few touches, sort of been a little bit lean over the last few weeks, but yeah, just about playing my role for the side, and yeah, it's good to get a good win up here.
And Matty Cruiser seems to be one just week in, week out, just puts his hand up to take that role, and he's been in great form.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, Cruz. Saved the game last week with a couple of big grabs, and he just keeps on getting better and better. So it's great to have the big fella fit and healthy, and he's playing some great footy.
Right on, mate. Good win.
Thanks, Welshie.
Good on you, Welshie. Nice job. And the skipper getting back in towards the form that we've expected from him. 27 disposals today. He had 10 kicks and 17 handballs. And look, Simpson 28, Scotland 32. The players that they want to have the football in the hands of, it's just starting to come for them.
You speak about Mark Murphy, the 3rd generation Murphy to play 100 games. His father won 5 best and fairest at Fitzroy, 1 for South Melbourne. He's a skipper of the Blues, and he's won a best and fairest. And a man that's in extraordinary form is Lockie Henderson. 4 goals, 3 7 goals in the previous 2 weeks. Welshie, he's finding a lot of football. He's a good man to have forward.
He is. Defender gone forward, 4 goals today. He must be enjoying it up there.
Yeah, mate, it's good, mate. When the team plays like that, we're sort of still up and down a little bit, but got over in the end, so it was great.
And it must be great to have guys like Eddie Betts and Garland, these guys at your feet, rather than chasing opposition small blokes around.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's fantastic. Those boys did really well, so I don't know how many they kicked, but they were fantastic.
And it must be pleasing. It was a real team effort, a real team win, come up here, convincing win, but you did it as a team would be pleasing for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were a bit scratchy that first half, and we were just sort of hanging in there, and then that second, I suppose that last quarter, really, we sort of just dug in and got the win, which was nice.
And now it keeps finals chances alive, you know, week after week, and they're really crucial. This one just keeps it alive and big focus for next week now.
Yeah, I think it's the old cliche. It's got to be week by week for us. We've got a reasonably tough run home, but we just keep winning. It's in our own hands.
Well done, mate. Good job.
Thanks, boys.
It's Fremantle next for Carlton at Etihad Stadium. Then the Bulldogs in their run home, actually, Mark, if you look at it, Fremantle, Western Bulldogs, Richmond, Essendon and Port away at Amy. You probably can only give them the Western Bulldogs as a lock. That's 1 out of the 5, but of course, if they're going to play finals footy, they've got to beat some of those teams. And Fremantle, it starts with next week, a side that Chris Judd knows a fair bit about. He's with Welshie.
I'm here with the superstar, Juddy. Must be great to come up here. Spoke to Murph, real danger game, pleasing to get the win.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got, they've got a really talented list, and they're starting to play some good footy. So we knew it was going to be a match, and we were happy we persisted and got the points.
And like coming up, the rest of the season, really important week after week for you guys to make the finals. Experienced campaigner, do you have to really take a role during the week to keep the focus?
Yeah, I think all the senior players need to make sure that we don't take the foot off the pedal. You know, we're in 9th position, so we've got a long way to go before we can contend with the top teams, but we're just going to make sure we prepare as well as we can and play good footy. And
Henderson has been great going up forward, giving you up. Obviously, we'd love Jared Wade out there, but Henderson's really filled that void really well.
He has. No, he's been great for us, and our little fellas down there were great again today as well, so it was good.
Yeah, very exciting. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Good on you, mate.
Nice work, Welshie. This Carlton team has changed a little under Mick Malthouse, and this venue, Haim, has changed a little bit in the years that we've been playing footy here. 1987, the very first game, the Brisbane Bears against Fitzroy. It was a Victorian team that came up here and got the 4 points in the very first game, and in our 100th game at Metricon Stadium, as it is now known, a Victorian team has come up and got the points again.
Good history lesson from you, Baz. I like the fact that Satanda's little helpers became known as the Three Amigos, and now Juddy just refers to them as the little fellas.
Well, the little fellas did all right, didn't they? 3 for Eddie, a couple for Chris Yarran, and 1-4 for Garlett. He'll be disappointed with that.
And back to your stadium, 19,000 for the second week in a row. The Pies last week, Blues this week. A win and a loss for the fans of the Gold Coast Suns.